So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you listen to this. This is Machi Billy alongside my critique and partner in crime, Ricardo Medina.
Hello, hello, hello.
And this is pretty much the season finale of season 2 of Bears, Beats, and Bailey. Yes,
Right.
folks, we have made it to the end of 2016, and as we
Yes.
did back in 2015, we are just going to more or less count down our favorites, just best of everything that we consumed over the year. So we're going to talk about TV, we're going to talk about video games, well, both of those briefly, but in my case, I'm going to talk about best hip-hop albums that I heard all year, along with favorite EPs, top 5 EPs, I should say, and something special that I want to do, which is top 5 instrumental albums. I want to say instrumental albums, I mean like, the songs that you've been hearing in the beginning of the end of each one of our recordings. So yeah, those what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like the big popular producers like Metro Boomin and those guys that you hear on radio now. I'm talking about the guys in the underground who pretty much put their stuff out on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Those folks that are still making some really great hip hop instrumentals that I highly recommend. But
Right.
I heard a lot this year, some of which you may have heard throughout the series, but I just had to round them down into 5. So, top 5 instrumentals, top 5 instrumental albums and top 5 EPs. But in the case of the hip hop albums, and this is the same thing I want to do for the best of, or at least in my case, my favorite movies of 2016, I want to do 16 best hip hop albums. The same thing goes for, best movies as well. As for worst movies, on the other hand, it's just gonna be 10. There's no need for me to go to try to remember 16 shitty movies. I'm sorry, and
Five.
there's no need for me to torture you guys into, reminding you of 16 terrible movies. Because I mean, as much as it was good in terms of movies, there was also some shitty stuff, and 10 is enough. Agree to
For
agree?
me, no, for me it's 5.
Yeah, I know. Well, in the case of Ricardo, in your case, Ricardo, you're gonna do 10 best stuff and 5 worst stuff, right?
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, that's fine. I mean, it's like I say, there's no need for you to torture yourself into coming up to 10. But in my case, I just had to see the ones that a lot of people were taking giant shits on, and really seeing if they deserve that type of treatment. And yeah, they did. And also, was similar to last year where I invited my friend Donald Haffedin, sorry, from the United States, who delivered his top 10 tech products of 2015. Our special guest pretty much will be Michael Richards, who you may remember from our very first episode where we talked about Inside Out and Terminator Genesis. He
Yes.
is the founder of Phastraq, who basically a company that deals with visual effects down in Trinidad and Tobago. And he has seen a lot of movies this year, and he's more or less going to talk about the best in terms of visual effects that he's seen.
Right.
Right. So to begin things, I will start off with the hip hop list. So of course, Ricardo, you can intervene, because I don't want it just be me talking blah 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 blah, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start things off with the top 5 best hip hop instrumental albums of 2016. Now, like I said before, these people, these are not the producers that you hear on radio. Matter of fact, you probably haven't heard these names at all. They are just so deep in the internet. But like I said before, they have put out some fantastic music throughout the year, and I have to give praise to these 5 individuals. Well, or should I say these 5 albums. So, starting off at number 5 is Snares, who is a producer from Germany. He brought out a beat tape pretty much called Expedition Volume 9, Ghetto Fills.
Right.
And this is actually part of the Expedition series. Well, it's from these German producers, these hip hop producers. They've been putting out these mixtapes all throughout the year. It's called Expedition. So this one, in this case, is Volume 9, Ghetto Fills. I mean, all the Expedition albums have been great, but this one really stood the most to me. I love the instrumentation, I love the beats, you know, it really harkens back to that old school, you know, boom bap hip hop style. And it kind of delivers it in this rather smooth, sort of laid back kind of fashion. So, highly recommend Snares.
Right.
Expedition Volume 9 Ghetto Fills. And of course, by the way, I'm going to put the links down to, you know, where you can actually find these albums and not just listen to them, but also purchase them.
Right.
Right? Coming in at number 4 is a producer from Los Angeles called The Deli. I believe it's either a producer or a group. I'm assuming right now it's a producer. His name is The Deli. He brought out an album called Vibes Tree.
Right.
Also, you know, also within that same smooth sort of laid back hip hop as well. So something you could kind of just kick back, relax, and sip some ice cool orange juice and just chill out to. So, you know, I love the beats in that. They're very short, very sweet, and yeah, nothing more I could say about it. Just a high recommendation. Coming in at number 3 is a German producing duo by the name of, forgive me if I get the names wrong, Bubble Wild and Jazz Quarters. Yeah,
Right.
weird name I know, I know. But they brought out one of my personal favorite instrumental albums of this year, which is called Spirit of the Roots. Now this was like on instant replay on for me. Like I was just listening to these beats over and over and over, and just like, you know, Vibes Tree. They're short, they're sweet, but they're more direct. They're more harkened back to that old school boom bap hip hop style from the 90s. It really, and I mean, it really does sound like it's something from the 90s, right down to the horns that you hear throughout. You know, like back in the 90s with those beats, they always like to bring in a lot of jazz, a lot of horns into the music.
Right.
I mean, the beat itself could be as dark as all that, it could be as menacing, but once they have that horn, it just feels like, yeah, that is that East Coast shit. So this is what these two guys brought to the table. It really does feel like something out of the 90s. I would assume that both producers collaborated throughout the entirety of this album. Why I say that is because, you know, just like an old school cassette, it's separated into two sides. So side A and side B. Side A is my personal favorite because that has the more edgier, more hard-hitting boom bap beats, while the side B is more kind of smooth, jazzy kind of beats, which work, but it doesn't have the energy that the first half did. And, you know, but overall, it's a solid effort. I love what I'm hearing, and I can't wait to see what these guys bring to the table come next year. Coming in at number 2 is a LA producer by the name of DiBiase.
Okay.
Yeah, S is a dollar sign, so that's what you should keep in mind. He brought out an album called Baker's Dozen. Now, I haven't been familiar with his music before. Apparently, he's been doing music over the past few years, and from what I've heard, like I like some of his albums, but one thing about his style though is that if he's not doing these sort of sample heavy beats that sound very, very good, by the way, he likes to do these sort of glitzy video game inspired beats as well too. So there's one that he did for I believe it's either Pac-Man or Super Mario Brothers. It sounds dope as fuck though, but in this album here, Baker's Dozen, he leaves that sort of glitzy video game stuff for the last track, but everything else leading up to it is just some head nodding beats that I just absolutely love. Just a lot of great tracks throughout this entirety. Like I say, a lot of samples. So you'll hear a lot of dialogue snippets from interviews from rappers. Whether it's I believe it's Raekwon from Wu-Tang Clan. You hear a little bit of Q-Tip. He takes a vocal sample from Bill Nunn's performance as Radio Raheem in Do the Right Thing, which I will still argue with you is the best Spike Lee movie ever.
Okay.
Yeah, remember that line? D, motherfucker, D.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he uses it every once in a while in this album. He has done it before. That and the Jay-Z Young, vocal snippet. But this one, how he used it on the album was really creative as well too. and he also, like I say, uses some vocal snippets from interviews. One in particular that stood out to me, which was from one of my favorite songs on the album, was this recent interview with Snoop Dogg and 50 Cent, and I believe Trick Daddy was involved, where they're just talking about the state of hip hop music. That's the one where Snoop Dogg was trying to imitate Future, where he was like,
Right.
yeah. So he uses that, and how it adds a lot to, because you see, like, all these artists that I'm talking about here, they're trying to bring back that essence of true hip hop music. Not to say that trap music or anything like that is not hip hop, but I mean that's commercial. Let's be real here. But these guys
Right.
are taking it back to the old school, trying to bring back that pure, unfiltered hip hop music. And I love what I love what I heard on this DiBiase album here. Because doesn't strongly recommend it. And
Right.
number one, last but certainly not least, is a North Las Vegas producer by the name of Flip God Dre. Yes, I know,
Okay.
weird name and all, but it's like Flip dot God dot Dre, and his
Right.
album is called Word dot Life BT.
Okay.
Yeah, that to me, believe it or not, is the best instrumental album I have heard all year. It
Right.
is probably some of the smoothest, most laid back, most chilled hip hop instrumentals I've heard all year. Like from start to end, it's just amazing. I just love this album from top to bottom. In terms of, he also does the same thing that DiBiase does with the vocal snippets. One in particular where he takes a little known interview with Erykah Badu. That was right after she brought out the classic album Baduism, where she's talking to this British host about the meaning behind that title, and that makes for probably one of my favorite tracks on this entire album. But yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it. I really strongly recommend that you guys check it out. It's simply some of the best hip hop instrumentals that you'll hear all year. Now, just to close things off, I don't know if these guys are gonna remain in the underground, if they're just gonna keep making music and just hoping that one day some up and coming rapper or some big rapper just shows up and be like, hey, I want to use one of your beats for some of
Right.
my work. But
Yeah, yeah.
it could happen one day, who knows.
Yeah,
But
that's all it takes. Yeah.
yeah, but these guys do definitely don't sleep on these guys. They have potential. They are making some really great hip hop music. So by all means, like I said, I'll leave in the links, for you guys to check them out, and yeah, show them support. Buy the album, share it, whatever. Just spread the word about these guys. All right. So moving along from instrumental albums to EPs, right? Now EPs are, of course, short albums. They could run from 10 minutes to about 30 minutes. Some people would even go about an hour and all to and still call it an EP. Kendrick Lamar, yeah, he did that before. But
Right.
in this case, these are short, these are sweet, these are concise, to the point, and yeah, highly recommended for me. So coming in at number 5 is a group called Clipping. Now,
Okay.
I don't know if you ever heard of them. They brought out a self-titled album a few years ago. You may be familiar with that guy. He's the rapper in the group. His name is Davi Diggs.
Okay.
Yeah, he starred in he made his name, all right, like he was doing the music with Clipping before, and then he got the opportunity to star in the Broadway musical Hamilton.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so he was probably one of the standout, performers in that group.
Right.
And from what I've heard, a lot of people were amazed by his rapping style and all that too. But like, compared to what he did there, this is something like Clipping's music is totally different. It's way more experimental, way, left field, just really weird stuff. But it works. It works in presenting a different style of hip hop music, especially with its production. It has a lot of like distortion, a lot of weird hisses and different sounds that they use to to create a beat. One song in particular from their last album, Clipping, incorporated a number of like alarm clocks that's going off. So
Right.
it's like
Right.
and then each one that shows up after every 2 lines sounds different. It just forms this big gigantic melody. It's awesome. So in this
Right.
case, they brought out an EP this year called Wriggle EP, which it's it's very much along the line of what they have done before with their previous album, which is like these really abrasive, hard in your face kind of music. It really sounds like somebody just kind of beating you over the head, but at the same time, there's melody, there's some really great lyrics as well as too, and it's very much what you would expect from Clip It. And why I say that too is because well, for one of my top 16 albums, it sounds which sounds totally different compared to what they've done before. This one is just what you'd expect from Clipping. So if you like
Right.
that sort of, off kilter sort of hip hop style with some great lyrics and some very impressive vocal deliveries from Davy Diggs, then by all means you're gonna enjoy Clipping Wriggle EP.
Right.
So number 4 is a group that I covered last year called the Underachievers. They are a Flatbush hip hop duo. They are part of the Pro Era hip hop group, hip hop
Right.
collective from New York, which includes Joey Badass and the ASAP Mob, which of course includes ASAP Ferg and ASAP Rocky and those guys. But these
Right.
two guys, who I praised last year for the album Evermore the Art to Duality, which was pretty much like the first half being these sort of airy, spacey beats and talking about living life to the fullest and all that, and then the second half just being dark and dreary and like it's about get rich or die trying, that kind of vibe. So pretty much with this album here, this EP, it happened in Flatbush, that's the name of it. They go back to that dark area of the second half of the album. So these are just 10 solid bangers, just them going hard at these beats. They don't hold back, they're just going in, just hitting you with one insane bar after the other, and yeah, it just makes for a great listen. You're gonna be nodding your head throughout the entirety of this EP. So yeah, highly recommend the Underachievers. It happened in Flatbush. Coming in at number 3 is a producer slash rapper by the name of Odyssey, who
Okay.
I knew about for a good while. He's actually part of this label called Mellow Music Group, who have been putting out some great albums over the years, some great alternative hip hop albums throughout this year and a few years preceding that. And in this case, he brought out a EP called Al Wasta. It's 7
Right.
tracks. It's him just over these smooth instrumental beats that he himself has produced. And it's just him just talking about his life, his career, where he's at, how he sees the world, how he sees himself, and some really nice vibes, just stuff that you could just, relax to. I'm sorry. If I'm not listening to music that makes me relax, I'm listening to stuff that just makes me want to nod my head and bust my head on a wall and that kind of shit. Anyway, coming in at number 2 is Aesop Rock and Homeboy Sandman, both of whom are New York-based MCs, legendary underground rappers as well too. They brought out a sequel of sorts to their little-known collaborative mixtape, called Lights. So in this case, this is called Lights 2, Still
Okay.
Buggin' EP. And I like the cover of it too, which kind of references the old EPMD album cover. I believe it's for Unfinished Business. I think that's the album that they're ripping off there. But over these 5 tracks, these guys, they just deliver some of I won't say it's weird, but it sounds really intelligent. It doesn't sound like your average rap lyric. It
Right.
doesn't sound like your average rap song. Especially from like A$AP Rock. He just throws all these words and all these metaphors at you that just sound so weird, and all these pop references and stuff. It sounds nerdy in a sense, and even the way how he raps kind of sounds a little nerdy as well too. Which works for a guy like A$AP Rock. Homeboy Salmon on the other hand, he comes with a kind of gruff voice, and he's like a nice he plays on like just a nice way to kind of even out Aesop's kind of weird vocals, but it
Right.
works. And these 5 tracks, they're solid, they deliver. They're witty, they're funny, but it has heart, it has some charm to it. It has a lot of thought, a lot of depth into it. And like most of A$AP Rocky's albums, this is not one that you could just sit through in one listen and assume that you understand everything. You have to listen it over and over, and then you'll pick up on certain things that he's saying, because he throws a lot at you with every single song. And of course, Homeboy Sandman is there to compliment him, and he works as well too. But it's just one of those EPs. Yes, 5 tracks, as short as it is. You will be going back to this over and over just to pick out and just to try to figure out what's being said in its entirety throughout each song.
Right.
And coming in at number 1 is a 19-year-old rapper. I believe he's 19 years old right now. His name is Afro. Who I
Yeah. I know this.
You're familiar with Afro? Okay, that's
Oh
great.
yeah.
Yeah. So he brought out an EP with a Canadian producer by the name of Marco Polo. Name of
Right.
it is Afro Polo EP.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with Marco Polo's music, but after listening to this album, I need to check out this guy's shit. He brings some hard instrumentals, but some really great grimy instrumentals for Afro to rap to. And Afro has impressed me a lot ever since I've heard about him 2 years ago. I've been following up some of his work. He also brought out an album, I believe it was a couple of years ago, which pretty much was an EP because it was short, just as short, if not as long as this EP here. But in this one, he sounds more confident. He sounds more brave on the mic. It's like, yeah, I was kind of holding back, just kind of showing off my skill here. But this one, I could go in hard. I could cuss now, And,
Right.
but even with the cursing and all that, and even with the off, every once in a while, you could get vulgar. But, it just all acts in this sort of, I don't know, like the best way to describe him is like more of a MF Doom type of character, where each song he's kind of assuming like a character. So in this case, with one song in particular, Fro Armstrong, which is one of my favorite tracks on this entire album, he's assuming himself as this sort of like space explorer. But it sounds cheesy the way how I describe it, but how it sounds over this really badass instrumental, it sounds really dread. So he's like throwing out all these sci-fi references and all that stuff, but he still sounds like this real hardcore rapper as well too. And like even a guy like him is really harkening back to 90s hip hop. So like when I listen to this guy, I'm not just thinking about MF Doom. I'm thinking about like Rakim. I'm thinking about Redman. I'm talking about the old school rappers, and these are the guys that he looked up to and was inspired to become a rapper as well too. And at his age, he's not dumbing himself down. He's not doing any commercial shit, trying to sound, like how everybody else is. He has his own distinct style. He has this really low voice, and it works in especially the way how he kind of sounds animated over these beats. And of course, his rapping style, he could be slow, but he could be fast. He could just be spitting like words at you, and you're just trying to pick up each one. It just sounds impressive as fuck. So Afro Polo EP, best EP I have heard this year.
Oh,
so
nice.
now finally we're gonna get to the best part. The top 16 best hip hop albums of 2016, and I'm gonna just try and run them through kind of quick. So what I would say now is that the 5 that I have, like the top 5, are definitely there. Like those are the ones that I really love. The ones following those are just like kind of like how I fit them. So it's not like officially number 6 is because I enjoyed it. Like what I mean, like this list is not official, but the top 5 I could safely say are the best that I've heard all year. All the others are stuff that I have enjoyed, maybe not as much as the top 5, but they're still high recommendations. So don't get mad if one of your favorite albums make it to like number 8 on my list. It's my list, so I'm just gonna run through them as fast as I can. But first off, honorable mentions go to 3 particular albums. One being from TDE representative Schoolboy Q, who brought out an album, or should I say a Grammy-nominated album, second Grammy-nominated album in his career, well done, called Blank Face LP.
Right.
Which, what I would say is that the instrumentation on this was, it was daring, it was different, it was unlike, the stuff that the more gangster rap, the traditional gangster rap stuff that you would expect from a guy like Schoolboy Q. But this one, he took some musical risk in terms of the instrumentation and the beats, but the problem is that for me the lyrics and the content was just pretty much the same gangster shit that you would expect from Schoolboy Q. There wasn't really anything different.
Yeah, he's a
But
rapper.
still highly
That
enjoyable though, all the same. But just wanted a little bit more. Just wanted something different this time.
right. I was never particularly impressed with him. You know, so I thought he was like a big deal when I heard Kendrick is quite good. So I decided to take him a look and say, yeah, kind of just not that impressive.
But I like I like how unpredictable he could be on the mics. Like sometimes he could just rap good, and then sometimes he just go crazy, be like yeah, 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 like
right.
that.
Yeah.
Just like throw you off. They're like what? you
right.
know. Second honorable mention goes to veteran hip hop group De La Soul. Who through the magic of Kickstarter managed to raise enough funds to put out their newest album in like about 12 years called And the Anonymous Nobody.
Right.
Which was an album that I wanted to enjoy a lot because I mean it's De La Soul. I've loved them, you know, ever since you know, their debut album, although I would admit that the second album, De La Soul is Dead, that was the moment where I said, yes, I love these guys. That to me is still the best album they ever put out. And that was when they kind of strayed away from the sort of hippie flower stuff that they were doing back in the first album. And they realized that, yo, it's 1991, fuck it, let me just go hard. Seeing then what Tribe Called Quest did, who I'll get to later, with their sophomore album, The Low End Theory. But in this case, with the Anonymous Nobody, what I liked is that they did try different styles. They did, I mean, it's 2016, so it's no sense for these guys who have been rapping since like what 1988 to try and rap like they're still in the 80s or 90s. They have to be different, and they've done that before over the years. But in this case, is that it's more eclectic. The beats are really different. So sometimes you might go for a traditional rap song, or or they might dabble in rock, or they might dabble in some some indie pop stuff. And for the most part, it works. It's just that I felt that it wasn't as consistent as it wanted to be, or maybe it wasn't trying to be consistent at all. It was just probably just them trying to make songs, trying to make the best of the talent that they have now. And I just wanted some more consistencies. Like every once in a while, like you might hear just a normal rap song, and then might just cut to them rapping over this like hard rock beat, and it just depends on your tolerance over these like change in genres. But other than that, though, just the fact that they managed to make this in 2016 and still prove their relevance, which is the overall message of the album, which is that they are still going to make their mark in hip hop because they love what they do. They're still gonna do it, even though the record labels and even though the big hip hop community might really appreciate them now because they're old, quote unquote. They are still there doing what they love and still inspiring other rappers to do the same. Hence the title Anonymous Nobody. Right? Yeah. And final honorable mention goes to Death Grips. I don't know if you've ever heard them before, but they are this sort of punk rock / experimental hip hop group. They put out like some of the wildest, most insane sort of beat your head over a wall type of music. It sounds more punk rock than anything, but it is traditional. It is within the realms of hip hop music. Just more on the punk rock side. And like I've heard their albums before, I wasn't really like I got where they were coming from, but like I was never blown away by any of them. It just sounded like noise, really. But this album that they brought out here this year called Bottomless Pit, that was the moment I was like, okay, I'll fuck with these guys now. Because like apparently like the group had broken up and then they came back, and from what I know about this album is just pretty much them kind of spitting back at the fans themselves. Like I don't know, maybe like the fans gave up on them, or the fans probably did not understand their music or don't want to understand their music, or don't care. They just want to just smash shit and just go crazy. And with this album, it was just them just saying "fuck you" back to the fans themselves. But the ironic thing is that the fans themselves are not going to even care because like their other albums, this album is just wild and crazy and insane, and true diehard Death Grips fans are not going to care if MC Ride, who is the vocalist of the group, is just saying fuck you or whatever. They don't care. They just enjoy that shit. But for me, it was I could see at least it's their most accessible album. Because of that, and because I understand the context of the album, I enjoyed it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it was crazy. It sounded like it came from like I don't know the pits of hell, but it was still different. It was a change of pace for me, and I don't mind that. And with the top 16 list I'm gonna get into right now, you're gonna hear some some different artists as well too who have put out some challenging albums. I should say some albums that aren't your traditional hip hop stuff, and we need that kind of stuff. We need people to be aware of these different trends with rap music. It's not all Future and Designer. Just saying.
Yeah.
Right. So let me just run through this list as quick as I can. So coming in at number 16, I was wrestling with this one. I really wanted it to be in top 10, but reason being it came at top 16. I'm talking about Common, Black America Again.
Yeah.
Is that as great as the great songs are on this album, and as great as the great instrumentals are on the album, there are some missteps here and there. Not too much, of course. Not too much that will just make you want to press the forward button or whatever. But it's not a perfect album per se. It's inconsistent at times. It means a lot. I mean, it's heartfelt, but it's just every once in a while. At first, Common is talking about Black Lives Matter and politics and stuff. But I mean, I'm not expecting the guy to be angry throughout the entirety of the album. So he would go back to the love songs that he more or less got popular off in the 2000s. Thanks to albums like B and Finding Forever, which I absolutely love, by the way. And but despite my gripes about it, what I really love though is that compared to his last album, 2014's album, Nobody's Smiling, this felt like a return to form. This was like the Common that we loved in B and Finding Forever. That sort of new soul vibe,
Yeah, I got that from this album as well. Because I really didn't care for that last one. But yeah, for this I was like, yeah, okay, we're getting some tracks, especially that one with Stevie Wonder.
Yes. The title track, Black America.
Title track,
powerful song. It sounds like it would work perfect as like the end credits of a movie. And speaking of end credits of a movie,
it was
the final track, Letter to the Free, actually was in the final credits for 13th, which was the documentary that I reviewed in our last podcast, which I absolutely loved, and it fits perfectly. Now, for me, I was not expecting the album to be all about, yes, Black America again, Black America again. You have to have some downtime as well too. But for me, what made it work is that it was really about, like, in a sense, love, like love for yourself, love for your people, love for humanity and stuff. So it doesn't have to be all bitterness and anger, which you kind of would expect from the political stance that the album kind of starts off with. But and I know some people might roll their eyes at the love songs and stuff, but still, I thought it was a great album for what it was. It could have been better, but still, as a return to form, I thought it worked as best as it could. So can't wait to see what Common does next, and just keep hoping that just hope that Common continues to put out great album after great album.
Right.
So coming in at number 15 is a rapper that I know a lot of people may have never heard of, by the name of K.A. He was a member of an old school hip hop group called Natural Elements.
Right.
Yeah, who had like I still need to listen to their music, but I'm familiar with Ka's music. The best way to describe it is like he raps and produces, by the way. He would produce like some of the most nocturnal, dark beats. Like, this is the kind of music that you'll listen to either you're driving down like a dark alley or just walking down like a dark street. It just sounds so, not nightmarish, but it sounds so nocturnal. And he just raps in this sort of whisper, this really low register. And it sounds creepy at times, but it works in creating this really dark kind of tone. And I loved his album, The Night's Gambit. He brought out another album last year, These with Dr. Yen Lo, which is a reference to the classic movie, The Manchurian Candidate. Liked it, but didn't love it. But in this case, he brought out an album this year called Honor Kill the Samurai. Awesome name. And you would expect, this album does reference a lot of samurai movies. One thing it did well, which I absolutely loved, is in the opening track called Conflicted, where the opening narration actually is a sample from, hands down, one of my all-time favorite samurai movies, Harakiri.
Right.
So if you guys have seen that movie, and I highly recommend you do, you'll know what I'm talking about. But these beats that Ka presents in his album, what I love is that he would take like a particular style, like a particular, like, maybe a Japanese instrument or some piece of a music that you'll probably hear not just in a samurai movie but in a Yakuza movie, and just loop it over these overall dark beats. So the best way to describe this album is like, think of like a 70s Yakuza movie mixed with some 60s samurai flick, but just in the East Coast. So it doesn't sound like Wu-Tang. It's not like, head nodding kind of stuff. But it's more smooth, it's more meditative, it's more supposed to just sink into your brain. And that's how the music sounds, and that's how his rhyming is as well too. He spits all these bars as well too, but it really requires you to think. And just the way how he doesn't shout them out, he just whispers them. So you have to really listen closely to what he's saying. And he spits some great bars, just more like, how rough it is living in the ghetto and surviving and, making money and all that kind of stuff. But just the way how he does it just sounds so grim and so dark, and it just makes for a great listen as well too. So if you're looking for something totally different, then I highly recommend Honor Kill the Samurai.
You're right.
So coming in at number 14 is a rapper that I was familiar about a couple of years ago called Mick Jenkins. He brought out a great mixtape back in 2014, I believe, called The Waters. And in that one, he was using the water as a reference for, more or less just living a great life, not, or just to use a quote from, Do the Right Thing, chill, you need to chill, stop with the violence, calm down, relax, drink some water. So in this case, this album is called The Healing Component, or THC. Well, of course, you know what THC is, right?
But
It's a chemical in marijuana. Yeah. So in this case, right, so he's talking about THC, but in this case, he's talking about love being the healing component. And all through this album, he's kind of touching on love, on facets of love, and talking about, loving of yourself, and or in one song in particular, if I have feelings for, this one girl, and then it doesn't work out, and then I happen to meet somebody else and I fall in love with that person, would I feel the same, or is it that a different type of love? So he more or less explores different aspects of love. It may sound cheesy the way how I describe it, but just lyrically, it's some of the most potent lyricism you'll hear all year. Some stuff might just fly over your head, but you just really need to sit down and just listen to what he's saying. He has a lot to say in terms of love. And he doesn't come off like he knows everything. He more or less kind of says like, this is what I think, this is what I believe, and you can believe it if you want to, but that's what I think. Right. Yeah, great album throughout. Coming in at number 13 is a group that literally I haven't heard about until like about a week ago. Name of the group is called Injury Reserve. It's a trio, so two rappers. First name is Stepper J. Groggs. Second rapper is Richie with a T, and the producer is Parker Corey. They brought out an album this year called Floss. Yeah, I know, weird name and all too, but from the opening track, which is oh shit, it has this killer hook. What he's in the hook, I just paraphrasing it, he says that this is some shit that sounds like something from '06. And I could totally agree. This really does. And yes, that beat itself and the way how they rap over it sounds like some Lil Jon shit. So the best way I could describe Floss is like if you were like me and you loved alternative hip hop back in the 2000s. You love music that sound a little different. It still sound commercial. It was bouncy, it was edgy, but it still had something unique, something different. It was fun. Then you will love Floss. It just sounds so incredibly fun and so incredibly crazy as well too, and wild, but it still has, it has some intelligence, it has heart, it has bite, it has punch to it. The rapping is on point. The beats are some of the most off-kilter stuff you'll hear all year, but overall it's just a fun listen from start to end. So thoroughly recommend Injury Reserve Floss. I'm just hoping that with this particular album that came out here, that these guys get more, not rep, but more acclaim, more attention, I should say. Because like I say, I haven't even heard of these guys till like about a week ago, but yeah, these guys, they put out some solid shit, so I just can't wait to hear what they put out next.
Yeah.
Right, so coming in at number 12 is Clipping once again. And this album right here, Ricardo, is one that I recommend personally that you listen to. Why? Okay. Name of the album is called Splendor and Misery. This is a 37, I believe, minute rap space opera.
Okay. Wow.
And it is so deep, so heavy, that after 2 listens, I didn't catch everything that was going on, even though I was reading up the lyrics on Genius. which you really should, because you just see so much in it. But
Right.
the best way I could describe it, it is a concept album. It is about um, pretty much the spaceship. Well, it's a metaphor for an actual slave ship. And through some circumstance, which I won't reveal, one slave survives because some gas, was released, and most of the slaves died, and he was like the only survivor, right? And the story is told basically from both his perspective and the ship's AI, who forms this sort of weird fascination with this guy here, sort of
Right.
sexual or sort of like machine looking
Yeah.
at human
Yeah.
and being enamored by him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it touches on a lot of stuff. It touches on slavery, on race, about freedom. To me, what I saw it more about was like about freedom, because in this case, the slave is free now. His masters are dead, right? But now he's alone in this ship, and he's not sure where he's going.
Yeah.
And the AI, now, on the other hand, knows that if they try to send out some sort of some signal, that some people, he will get caught, or the ship will be captured or whatnot, or
Yeah.
I should say the slave will get captured. So more or less, it's just both of them just somewhere in the galaxy, just distant, just far away, just floating. And it's kind of like both of them trying to wrestle with the possibility of, is there a future out there? Is there hope for us out there? Or should we just stay out there in space and just drift until we die, or we become obsolete?
Right.
And it's just so deep, like I say, so layered. It sounds simple, but it just goes so in depth. And what I love about this album is that, like, literally, you could close your eyes and you could just hear all these sounds, and it sounds literally like you are in this spaceship. It sounds like literally like you're watching a movie. And what I love also too is basically the sound effects that they use. So you might hear like doors closing, like or you might hear gas hissing and stuff like that. And it adds a lot. You might hear like distorted vocals. You could hear, every once in a while you will hear the slave doing like a little freestyle, and it sounds like it's coming from a radio or some kind of thing. So it sounds distorted. It really feels like the signal is off and stuff. And Davi Diggs more or less, he mostly raps from the perspective of the AI. He's talking about what's going on and how the AI views this human and all that kind of stuff. And then every once in a while we will get these gospel vocals provided from I believe it's a few members from legendary a cappella group Take Six.
Yeah.
And like when I was listening to that, I was kind of thinking that, okay, it's going back to old Negro spirituals. So maybe the message is about slavery and about freedom and wanting to be free. But to me, the message I got is like, yeah, you're free, but now what? Where do you go?
Right.
Is there a real future for you, or are you just gonna remain a slave all your life? And you could kind of think about it from a personal level, about being introverted, about not trusting people, or just yourself in life. When bad things happen to you, how do you move forward? Do you just smile
Right.
and move on, or you just hold on to that pain and just feel hopeless? And all
Right.
these stuff that and I know it have deeper stuff in it, but there are tons of sci-fi references, some to like particular books, sci-fi books. There's even a reference at the very last track to to Star Trek,
Right.
which I didn't pick up on until I actually read the line. I was like, oh, that's where it's from, but I still didn't know. But Ricardo, out of if there's one hip hop album, like if you're looking for something that's like really challenging, something that's really intelligent, something cinematic, then I strongly recommend you check out Splendor and Misery. You might actually
Nice.
love this album as well, too, but for me, why I love it is that I've always loved rock operas. I've always loved concept albums. I always loved albums that told a story. And
Right.
this is one that I know that I'll be listening to over and over, and pretty much inspired to actually, because like I've always wanted to do my own sort of visual version of a concept album. That's like my big dream. So
Right.
stuff like this, and like even last year with Augusta Pimp a Butterfly, those albums are the ones that I'm gonna go back to. So every listen I'm gonna pick up on something new, something different. It's gonna mean something more to me. So in terms of hip hop, this is probably the most ambitious album you will hear all year. I highly recommend it. It's not for all audiences though. If you're looking for some, you know, bangers and some stuff that you'll understand and you won't get here, you have to really dig in deep and really figure out what's going on. And even if you don't get it within the first listen it a few times. Go on Genius. Don't be afraid to read lyrics, and you might gain something out of it like I did. But this is definitely one I'm gonna go back into for I really do see myself going back to this very, very, very soon. Right.
Right.
So moving on to number 11, we're just gonna move a little bit faster. Aesop Rock once again came back this year with an album called The Impossible Kid. Like I said before, I've been familiar with Aesop Rock's work over the years. With his sort of moody, sort of weird style of just throwing all these words at you. But in this one, just like the Death Grips that I mentioned before, this is the most accessible work. The beats are dope. They sound really perfect. They don't sound really out there. They sound, you will be nodding your head and enjoying it. But lyrically, Aesop is on point. He doesn't disappoint, and he touches on a ton of topics that might sound weird at first, but when you're digging deep as well too, you can tell that it deals with a lot of childhood trauma, a lot of just the awkwardness of growing up, his relationship with his brother, his family, among other things. Just reasons why this impossible kid might pretty much end up being introverted, might just not want to trust anybody, might just keep to himself, and it's all these things that make this album very very interesting listen. I would say you would enjoy it. Some of the tracks might sound ridiculous upon first listen, but because there's one track in example where he's talking about his cat, but
Right.
digging deep, just look through the dark humor and you'll find something really interesting there. So Aesop Rock, The Impossible Kid, I recommend that. And now we get to the top 10 at long last. So number 10 is my boy Elzai, repping Detroit to
Right.
the fullest. We haven't heard from him from a long while. The last album that I remember from him was Elmatic, which was his take on Nas's classic Illmatic album. I loved it. It was my favorite album of 2011. I absolutely love it. I still love it to this day. And I was like, yeah, where Elzai is? He's doing these collaborations every once in a while, but when is he coming back? Unfortunately, he came out this year with an album called Lead Poison. And
Okay.
yeah, and what I enjoyed about that is that he dug in deep. He got personal. He talked about matters that affected him, whether it's being arrested for possession of marijuana, to just his self-doubt over his skills, because he still considers himself to be very underrated. A lot of people haven't heard of Elzai. They still haven't heard of Elzai, even when he was in the commercial, when he was in the mainstream back in the days when he joined on with Slum Village back in the early 2000s. But still, people don't really know that much about him, and in this case, he kind of addresses that. He talks about the fact that he still is a great MC, even though he's still underrated, and he kind of he pretty much battles his own personal demons, self-doubt of regret and grief and stuff, and it's basically the best way to describe it is that he is using the lead in his pencil. He's more or less like channeling that poison, channeling those demons that are inside of him, and putting it out to, putting pen to paper basically. And his message is that if you keep these emotions, these negative emotions bottled inside, you may die, or you may become a shell of a man. So you have to get it out one way or another, and the only way he knows how is through rap, and he does that excellently on this album. One particular song that stood the most to me is called Hello, where
Yeah.
he raps from the perspective of a man who is trapped within a song. So
Okay.
the concept is that once the song starts and ends, he has like 4 minutes to pretty much tell you, yeah, this is how I ended up here. Pretty much this is me trying to get out. I need help, please. But I already know you probably don't care about what it is I have to say because you just love the beat, but I am crying out for help here. It is a excellent concept. I don't know how he managed to pull it off, but it did. It's probably one of the most clever songs I have heard this year, regardless of genre. So Elzai, Lead Poison, highly recommend that. Coming in at number 9 is a rapper that I wasn't familiar with, even though he made it to the XXL freshman list, I believe, for this year, 2016. I'm talking about Denzel Curry and his album Imperial. This is like, you see, right? So if all of these albums before, like if you've heard them before, didn't have that sort of head nodding kind of, make you want to just go wild and just go crazy and ape shit, this one does. This one in particular, but even though the beats they are trap flavored as well too, and they are bouncy, they are crazy, they are guaranteed to get your ass off the seat and just go, just wild out. but lyrically, this man is the shit though. This man just goes off. He could just rap like, he could rap normal, but he could just go into double time. He just be spitting out, lines and bars just like crazy, and it works. But every once in a while, he will touch on certain matters, if whether it's race or police brutality, or the prison system, just people who been arrested for stuff, and they're not gonna be released, or they're not gonna see the light of day and that kind of stuff. So he touches on all of those, on most of, well, you could say pretty much he touches on those topics throughout this entire album. But overall, I don't really want to say much about it. It's it's fun, it's abrasive, it's in your face, and yeah, if you aren't nodding your head, or you are not like chanting one of the choruses by the end of this album, then something is clearly wrong with you. This album is the shit though. Imperial, I love it. That's my number 9. Coming in at number 8 is Compton's, or should I say Bumpton's own YG,
Yeah.
who came out with arguably probably the best album he has ever put out, called Still Breezy. Now, I was never the biggest fan of YG when he came out a few years ago with My Nigga, which I still think is one of the most annoying, painfully annoying rap songs I've ever heard in my life. And of course, well, that entire album, My Crazy Life, was produced entirely by everyone's favorite producer, DJ Mustard.
Right.
Mustard on that beat, oh?
Right.
So in this case here with Still Breezy, he just push aside DJ Mustard's like, yeah, you take a break, you go and take a vacation in the islands. Let me just get some other producers. Let me just do some shit, and then we go link back up. And that was like the best decision this man ever made. Just by pushing away DJ Mustard and getting some other producers on board with this, he put out, in my opinion, is probably the best West Coast album I have heard all year. It really harkens back to old school gangster rap and G-Funk. Well, more particularly G-Funk, especially with the beats. It really sounds like some shit out of like from from 93 go onwards, with Snoop Dogg and Tupac and those guys. It sounds like that. And YG doesn't disappoint, he talks about the basic stuff, riding around in cars and bitches and money and stuff. But the context of the album is that he has achieved mainstream success with the previous album, and now it's like he has one foot in the mainstream and one foot back in the hood. So he's doubtful. He's always skeptical about how people look at him. In one particular song called "Give Me Gunshot," he's talking about how people could come up to him and like, "Hey, give me some money, man! Come on, man! You're making it big, man!" That kind of stuff. And in another particular song called "Who Shot Me," where he does get shot, and he's wondering who did it and why they did it in the first place. But for me, and yes, there are some solid G-Funk tracks that I don't know if it's Crip Walk or whatever, but it will make you do that. It will make you just want to just jump in a 64 Impala, just drive and put on your hydraulics and just bump to the shit, right? But for me, the standout track on this entire album is FDT, Fuck Donald Trump. Probably the best anti-Donald Trump song I have heard all year. And yes, this was a song that was blasting ever since Trump won. And I have a feeling that for the next 4 years, yeah, a lot of people are gonna be blasting this shit. Cause I know real people still don't like the fact that Trump won. So yeah. But in this one, he collaborated with a Crip representative called Nipsey Hussle, who I'm familiar with as well too. So yes, a Blood and a Crip, joined forces to talk shit about Donald Trump, and it worked. But yeah, overall though, if you love West Coast hip hop, if you love G-Funk, and if you just want to hear something different that's not East Coast oriented, then by all means, I strongly recommend you listen to Still Breezy. It is YG's best album to date, and it is probably the best West Coast album that I've heard all year. So that is my number 8. Number 7 is a collaborative effort between producer Knowledge and singer/songwriter/rapper Anderson .Paak, who by the way has been having an amazing year this year, not just with his debut album, not just with his album Malibu, which a lot of people are referring to as the best R&B album of the year. I myself could agree to that, but also with this album here called Yes Lord. Yes, that's the name
Okay.
of it. So the group combined is called No Worries. So think of it like the Mad Villain. MF Doom and Madlib, when they join forces, it's Mad Villain. So in this
Right.
case, when Knowledge and Anderson Paak join forces, it's called No Worries. And this case with this album here, Yes Lord, this was a kind of hard one to put down because you could say it is a R&B album because I mean, for the majority of the album, um, Anderson Paak pretty much sings. He channels a lot of old school soul into it, and it works. But when you think about it, because it's a person pretty much singing over this producer's beats, you can kind of easily assume that it is still hip hop. And because Knowledge is primarily a hip hop producer, you have to just kind of say yes, it's a hip hop R&B album. You could still say it's an R&B hip hop album, but I still say it's hip hop slash R&B.
Right.
And in this one, Anderson Paak is just having fun with these tracks. For the majority of it, he kind of comes off like this player slash pimp character. So he's kind of like showing off like, yeah, I'm the shit, bitch, that kind of thing. But I like that the album itself is so self-aware that every once in a while you'll hear like this female voice coming and say, fuck you, man, you's a hoe. So
Right.
just kind of calling out Anderson on his own shit now, basically. It just makes for a really fun listen as well. You're not supposed to take everything that he says seriously. It's like in one song where he says, if I call you a bitch, that's because you're my bitch. You're not supposed to take that seriously. It's like, oh well, Anderson, oh, I don't like you anymore. It's not like that. It's just pretty much him playing this sort of, this smooth player type character. So it's not meant to be taken seriously. It's just, both these guys having fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. This to me is this decade's Mad Villain. This is one that a lot of people are going to be going back to, and are gonna enjoy it and love it hopefully. Number 6 is a rapper by the name of a female rapper. This is like the only female rapper I have here. I know, shame on me. Called No Name. Formerly, she was known as No Name Gypsy. She collaborated with Chance the Rapper before on his previous mixtape, Acid Rain. Sorry, Acid Rap.
Right.
Which, in retrospect, I enjoy way more than Coloring Book. And yes, Coloring Book is supposed to be on my honorable mentions, but I didn't love Coloring Book as much as pretty much everybody else does. And just by the way, if Chance the Rapper wins a Grammy for Best Album for that, much props to him, but still didn't love Coloring Book as much as Nolan. But getting back to Nooney, so yes, she is a rapper slash poet pretty much. And what I like about her style is that she raps in this sort of spoken word kind of vibe as well too. It's really soft, it's very smooth, it's very melodic. And the same goes for these beats, which are some of the most airy, most pleasant, most sweet sounding beats you will hear on a hip hop record this year. This is so, the best way to describe it, it's bittersweet. Like, at first you listen to it and it sounds, oh, that sounds so nice and so pleasant and so, joyful. Like one particular song in particular called Diddy Bop, which is one of my favorite tracks of the entire album. The beat in that alone is just so lovely. But then when you're digging deep now, it's really kind of bittersweet because she's more or less reminiscing about her life and just growing up and being in love and all that kind of stuff. But there is a hint of sadness every once in a while. And she doesn't shy away from talking about that. And not just that, but also about the state, the state of affairs in her hometown, which is Chicago, which we both know, has always dealt with crime and stuff. She touches on that, with this album, with this a track called Casket Pretty, short and concise and to the point. Her talking about, her friends dying and stuff like that. But overall, it's still a very pleasant, a very sweet, a very warm album. I would say, like, for those who just think that rap music is all about thug life and bitches and all that kind of stuff, listen to this. You will be pleasantly surprised by this one. This is a really heartfelt album, or should I say mixtape? It's a mixtape. I believe No Name is coming out with an official album next year, and I can't wait to hear it. So by all means, check that out. And now we get to the top 5. So number 5 is my boy Kendrick Lamar. He brought up a surprise album, I should say, called Untitled Unmastered, which primarily consists of B-sides from To Pimp a Butterfly. Just these songs that didn't make it, just the songs that he was trying out, and he had these concepts, but they just didn't gel well enough with the album that we got last year with To Pimp a Butterfly. But the ironic thing is that even though these are B-sides, even though these were songs that were cut out from the original album, they still work. They're still great. They're still well composed, well put together, well rapped, well rhymed. Music wise, lyric wise, this all these songs work. Um, it's not really following a particular narrative like, say, To Pimp a Butterfly, but it touches on particular topics and themes that showed up there. His belief in God, trying to be righteous in this unrighteous world, and just all these different things that show up every once in a while on this particular album here. And
Right.
it's 8 tracks. It's I believe it's like about a half hour long, but it's Kendrick doing what Kendrick does. I love that every once in a while you'll hear him kind of experimenting with different styles, different sounds and stuff, trying to get a vibe, trying to create a song, and it works. It really gives it like an in-depth look in the creativity behind, To Pimp a Butterfly. I'm just glad that he was so confident in what he was doing that he was just able to put all these songs that didn't make it to the final cut out. So I don't know if some genius is gonna try and make an extended version out of it To Pimp a Butterfly, but no. Untitled Unmastered is its own thing. It's not trying to be. It's more or less like a companion piece to Pimp a Butterfly. But like I said, it just really shows Kendrick at his most creative, his most experimental. And yeah, if you're a Kendrick fan, definitely check it out. If you're
Right.
not and you just want to hear some intelligent shit, yeah, by all means, give this one a listen as well too. Coming in at number 4, this was another last-minute entry, just like the injury reserve. Run the Jewels, RTJ 3.
Well, I'm familiar with this.
Yeah, now have you listened to it? Yes.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on it while I catch my breath?
No, yeah, great energy. I always was a big fan of Killer Mike since Doodoo Who You. Remember that song?
Yeah. Bop,
Yeah.
bop, bop, bop.
Yeah.
Bump in your truck.
Yeah, and this is just such a strong year, especially with I kind of follow him because of the politics. He's a big supporter of the Senator Bernie Sanders, and
Yes.
then I started listening to his stuff, and I was like, oh shit, he come up with some new material, and then he's part of a new group now, or whatever. And I was unaware of that until the politics. So cool.
Yeah.
That was great.
Right. But yeah, this album dropped on Christmas Day morning. Like I just woke up, wish everybody at home Merry Christmas. Da. Just went on my laptop. Wait, RTJ3 is out? The fuck? What?
Yeah.
Got it, listened to it, bumped the shit out of it on Christmas Day, and then continue to do so. And I would argue, I still prefer Ronnie Jules 2 because of just how hard hitting the beats were, how on edge, both Killer Mike and LP were on that. But this one, I thought worked as well too. Like if this is like the trilogy, like if this is official trilogy, this Ronnie Jules thing, this would have made like the perfect part 3. It's more mature, it's more forward thinking. It like as a LP fan, he also produces as well too. He put out an album back in 2001 from a duo called Cannibal Ox, called The Cool Vein, which I will admit is probably one of the best albums, regardless of genre, that I've ever heard. And on that one, you got this sort of futuristic take of these two guys in the ghetto trying to get out. So the best way to describe it is think of like a hip hop version of like Blade Runner. The
Right.
beats themselves, what LP designed for this album sounds like some Vangelis stuff, like what you heard from the from Blade Runner, that sort of synthesizer assisted beats, and some of that stuff show up on this particular album here. It sounds more futuristic than the other albums before. And with this one, like I listened to it last night before actually doing this recording here, this one is really about them kind of just like I say, they're more mature on this one. They do touch on politics. They do touch on the fact that yes, Trump is president, and we have to move on. We have to hold on to hope and that kind of stuff. And in that particular track called 2100, which I believe they brought out the day after the election, it's like just them kind of holding on to hope basically. But you still get that grimy sort of kick-ass shit that you would expect from Ronnie Jules. These really provocative lyrics, just like bust your shit open beats as well. You get that, but in this case, the beats themselves aren't like punching you over the head. They sound more melodic. They sound more cinematic as well too. And what I like is that it really does solidify the theme that has resonated throughout all the albums, which is this whole rebelliousness about kill your masters, which is emphasized in the last track on the album as well too. This whole idea that we will no longer be controlled by politics or by the government or by religion. We are capable of thinking for ourselves. We want to do what we want to do. We don't want to be
Right.
tied down. We don't want to be slaves. Fuck the authority, kill your masters. And this album here, I don't want to call it the final. I'm hoping this is not the end of Ronnie Jules, but this one is more like, yes, this is the official battle cry here now. We was warning you all before, but now this is the moment right here. This is
Right.
where it's all led up to. So it really does feel like this is the closing chapter in this Randy Jules trilogy. Hoping it's not. I really hope that we do get more Randy Jules album, because as far as rap duos go, this is one of the best for this decade thus far. They have
Right.
made such an influence in rap music as well too, from just this whole unabashed nature of themselves, just not giving a fuck about what anybody says or thinks, and just seeing what's on their mind. But you could look past the abrasiveness and look deep and be like, yeah, they're actually making some sense to it. Yeah, it could sound violent and over the top, but they're making some sense, and you do see that with RTJ3 here. So yeah, this is definitely a top 5 for me. Like I said, I would still say Ronnie Jules 2 was better because the beats would just hit a lot harder. But I do see where they're coming from. It really does feel like this is the final chapter. And I just really hoping as a RTJ fan that this is not the last that we've heard of these guys. So yeah, solid effort, RTJ3, definitely check it out. And now we've reached the top 3. Ahem. Number 3 goes to Detroit MC, Danny motherfucking Brown. Sorry, Danny Brown, who, by the way, has collaborated on a great track on RTJ3. For those who don't know who Danny Brown is, he's a Detroit rapper. He is known for this sort of nasal, really loud voice. So it sounds really like it's more like a split personality thing. So at one hand he might sound kind of normal and cool with his low voice, but next time he might just sound really loud, like he will sound like that.
Right.
But how he kind of paints himself is that he's like this former drug dealer slash drug addict. So every once in a while he'll kind of bounce back to the normal voice being the former drug dealer, and the crazy voice being this sort of off again, on again, off again, drug addict kind of thing. So it's that kind of weird split personality that you get with Danny Brown, and it just makes he's probably one of the most animated rappers you'll hear ever. He's like what ODB was to hip hop in the 90s, just something so weird, so off kilter. And with this album that he brought out here, A Trusty Exhibition, this was him returning back to that style that I love from ever since I heard him on Triple X, which came out I believe was 2012 or 2013, one of those years. But this was just an assault on his senses for me. But
Right.
deep down inside, it's really if you really want to try and figure what the narrative is about, it's kind of like just him going deeper and deeper into madness, just getting deep into this whole hedonistic lifestyle with drugs and sex and all this crazy shit. But him managing at the very end to dig himself back out, to realize that it's not about just self-destruction, it's about me kind of going in deep and showing you guys this is how fucked up this rap game could be, this is how fucked up the drugs could be. But I don't want you to follow my path. I don't want you to follow what I did, whether it's dealing drugs or selling drugs or taking drugs, But this is what I know, this is what I feel inside, and because I am an artist, I can draw from that and create challenging work. I create memorable work, and this one is both challenging and memorable. There are beats on this album that don't sound like anything you've ever heard in rap music ever. And
Right.
these beats themselves, like even the average rapper won't dare to rap on these things. That it sounds so crazy, just so I don't know. So like a beam from outer space just beaming out to earth, some kind of shit. So it sounds crazy, but it works well with with Danny Brown's just unpredictable flow, the way how he could just go crazy and manic over beats, but still be self-aware to be like, yeah, this is just me creating a tone and whatever with each song, but I'm not telling you guys this is what you should do. This is just me putting you in my head for a while, but I'm taking you out, and I want you to kind of figure out for yourself, yeah, this is not the life for me, clearly. I mean, it's fun to have fun and live life, but if
Not
you,
with
yeah, not with drugs and not to an
yeah.
excessive degree. That's the
Yeah,
point.
say,
But
you don't burn the candle at both ends.
exactly. And what I
Yeah.
love about this album is that it's not hammering you in the head. This is not an anti-drug PSA kind of thing. This is just you going deep into the scarred psyche of Danny Brown, and what you're gonna get there, you won't see coming. But when you come out of it, you're gonna be like, wow, this was an amazing experience, and this is one that you will revisit over and over and over and just have a blast with it. I would say what makes it work, what makes it bearable, because it's so darkly humorous. It is humorous, whether it's the way how Danny Brown raps or the way how he raps over these songs. It's so wild and crazy and inventive, but at the same time, it's dark fun, but it's not like, yes, take coke and that's what I'm telling you to do. No, it's not like that. It's just, like I said before, just a glimpse into this guy's mind, and you could do what you want after that point. But I could talk on and on about this one, but for me, this is one of my favorite albums, bar none, of this year. Strong recommendation. Danny Brown, Atrocity Exhibition. And now we get to the number 2. Now, this album here, Jared. Now, this is not me trolling or bullshitting or nothing like that. This is one that probably will not show up on anybody's best of list. Because I don't think anybody have heard this. I don't think anybody knows this guy exists. But this guy is the fucking truth. Nolan the Ninja.
Okay.
I know, you never heard of him before.
Okay. Yeah.
But he is another Detroit MC. The best way to describe him is like what would happen if Onyx met Eminem. Like early in his prime Eminem. Like just don't give a fuck Eminem.
Right.
If they both met together, how it would be. So it's that kind of hardcore hip hop style, and Nolan is a man who, upon first listening, like, yeah, why is this guy shouting so much? Why? But the way how he goes at these beats, though, is just so aggressive, so energetic, dude. And I was just like on board even from the first mixtape that he brought out called "Fuck the Hype" last year, which, by the way, made it to upon, it wasn't on my best EPs list, but upon some more listens, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and now it's my number 1. I love that, and it's just really this young rapper. I believe he's like in his early 20s, going back to that old school hardcore hip hop style. Rappers like Black Moon and Wu-Tang Clan, basically made big, and yes, Mobb Deep as well too. More or less made big back in the 90s. But you don't really hear that style anymore. He goes back to that traditional old school. Even right down to the beats themselves sound like something out of like 93 or 95. This grimy lo-fi boom bap style as well too. It really does sound underground. It sounds like something that would have been recorded on a cassette and just sold, out of a car or some shit. It sounds really, really grimy, and I loved it. I loved every minute of this album. But what I like as well too, I forgot. The name of this album is called Art. So Art, A-R-T, is in brackets in this case here. So, it's not just about him rhyming from his heart, from his soul, but him being an artist, him being able to express himself. I mean, I'm not dissing anybody, but you can't really call yourself a hip-hop lover if you just like Drake and Future, just the stuff that you hear on radio. If you don't care for people like Black Moon and Wu-Tang Clan, you don't have to if you don't want to, but if you don't really acknowledge those artists and what they did in terms of creating the hip-hop music that we know and love, then you can't really call yourself a hip-hop fan. And this album here, Heart, is for that hip-hop fan, like for me. And that's why it resonated so much for me. This was me being reminded of what makes hip-hop so great, why I love this art form so much. And, from his perspective, him being underground and unsigned. He talks about a lot being unsigned, and he just was like, you know what, I just gonna put on my music here. Whether you like it or not, whether you hear it or not, I don't really give a shit. I am an artist. This is what I do, and I am so glad and grateful that I got to listen to this album, just from top to bottom. This just reminded me of why I love hip hop so much, and just the fact that it came from this rap in his early 20s is just nothing short of amazing. Like I said, the beats are grimy, that old school shit, and just his vocal delivery on this is just so powerful, so punchy. But every once in a while, well, actually in the second half of the album, he does tone it down. He does rap. He does sound normal. He's not shouting at you. And those are in like, well, actually title track as well too, which is one of my favorite tracks on this entire album as well too, where the beat is a lot smoother, it's more laid back, and it's just him talking about the fact that at the end of the day he's an MC and he is going to do what he does because he loves it. He doesn't care about commercialization and being played on the radio. He just wants to put on music that he likes, and he just wants somebody to hear it as well too. But at the end of the day, he's rapping from his heart, from his soul. Hence the title of the album. And nothing more I could say about this one. But Nolan the Ninja, Heart. Google it, download it, or stream it or whatever. Listen to this shit. But I am not trolling. I am not bullshitting here. This is my second favorite album of the year. This would have been my favorite of the year had it not been for the obvious favorite,
of course,
best of 2016, hands down, A Tribe Called Quest.
Of course, yeah.
We got it from here. Thank you for your service. Had this album not come out, Nolan the Ninja Hard would have been there. But wow, Tribe Called Quest came out with this. I mean, I was torn basically when I heard about Five Dogs Dead, because like I always wanted to meet the group in real life, and like I kind of gave up on Q-Tip's final album, which was called The Last Zulu. But this album just came out. We heard the news in November, like I said, in my review of it. But and when it came out, I would admit the first time I heard it, I was like, yeah, didn't like it as much as I wanted to. But after 3-4 listens, I thoroughly love this album. It really does sound forward thinking. It really does sound like how Tribe Called Quest would sound in 2016. They're not going back to the 90s or the 2000s. It's just them moving forward and taking what they have established, their own style and sound, and adapting it for a 2016 audience, and it works. It works so well from start to end. And I also love the fact that they were able to touch on social issues like race and politics, and still have fun doing it, and still be able to get Consequence, who I still see is an underrated as hell rapper, on board. Get Busta Rhymes, who brings a lot of fire and energy on board, and even Jerome as well too, who I have never heard rap until now, and he sounds excellent in this. But of course, we have to the shining stars of this are of course Q-Tip and Five Dog, and the way how they complement each other. It's really like them just going back to what they've done over the years. I know that their relationship has been rocky over the years and stuff, but I'm just glad that they were able to come together and put this album out. Unfortunately, some of these songs actually made it before Fife's untimely demise, and I really, really, really love the fact that they paid tribute to him throughout this album. And it's wow. This album just really hit my heart. Like I didn't, not only did I didn't expect this album to come out, I didn't expect it to really impact me as much as it did. But I mean, in a year that gave us anti-Donald Trump anthems and stuff, just the fact that their final track on this album is called The Donald, and it has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It's really about Donald Juice, which was like the unheard of nickname of Five Dog. It's just spinning that whole Donald name and spinning it into something different and something where we could pay respect, and like the final send off, especially on this album to a great MC, and I mean, not more I could say about this. This was A Tribe Called Quest came back in probably like the best final album I've heard like in years. Wow, we got it from here. Thank you for your service. Not much more I could say about it. And as a Tribe Called Quest fan, I could safely say this is one of the best albums they have ever put out. So yeah, this was number one for me. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely love this album. So if you haven't listened to it, by all means, do give this a listen. Do buy it. Do purchase it. Do spread it with. Do let people know these guys are here. And go back to their old discography and listen to why they are so revered in the hip hop game. So yeah, not much more I could say about it, but I know you listen. Well, have you listened to it, Ricardo? Or not yet?
Yeah, part of it. I got back in full honesty, say I listened to the whole thing. So
you need to, man. You really need to.
Yeah.
You need to listen to it. Yeah. So those were my picks for best hip hop wise for throughout 2016. Well, while I catch my breath once again, Ricardo, I know you. What I should say is, what were these songs or albums, hip hop or otherwise, that stood out to you? Like I know you haven't listened to a lot of albums like I did, hip hop albums, but what were
it's only jogging music. So, Starboy, listen to that a lot this year.
Yeah, the Weekend Starboy, that was fun.
Weekend Starboy,
Not as dark as the last album, but still great to listen to.
Right, yeah. What else? What else I listened to a lot this year? Onoki Taiko, she's an old Japanese jazz artist from the 70s. I listened to a lot of that.
Cool. What about stuff like from this year?
Yeah,
I don't be ashamed to say Future, though. I'm not going to for saying Future.
No, I listen to some Future a little bit. So, but again, jogging music.
Yeah, you can't jog to where you.
No, yeah, you could jog to that. I say you could jog to. You could jog to anything. I think once I like it, I'll jog it. What else? Let me see what else. No, it wasn't stuff from this year. I could say in all good conscience, because it was mostly like Metal Gear Solid soundtrack. That is nothing really. I really listened to no particular music this year. I kind of left that up to you. I had to listen to some stuff. Local rappers. Actually listen a lot to.
Yes, please acknowledge them, please.
Yeah. Mike Wise, fantastic stuff from this guy. All these kids.
Me to his music. I love his
music. Yeah. The thing is, I recommend. As I say, I keep mentioning. You have some old colleagues of yours that did a video for Saint Anne's. They did this kind of short movie about 7 minutes long, and that was like it's one of Saint Anne's best songs.
Right. And I'll give that a watch.
Yeah, and that was just pretty damn good. You'll see some familiar names in the credits, as I say.
Mm-hmm.
And you it had a person I would like to shout out to. She was pretty damn impressive. As she's basically akin to like our local Lauryn Hill, a girl called Jalifa. That's I don't want to say her real name but Jalifa is her stage name. She is really, really good. I mean, singing, rapping. She had this Bobo Shanti approach to everything, and you're like, holy shit, she was really impressive that night. When the We Noise get together with all the local rappers.
Right.
Of course, Kino Nocturne. I actually have been listening to a lot of like the local rapper stuff just to get a sense of how visually I want to like edit together this stuff. Because I've been practicing like editing with their music now.
Right.
And Kino Nocturne in particular. Shout out to those dudes. They're just really great people, and they have this amazing hype man called Buzmas. And that dude is so wild and over the top, but he's such a great dude. He has such great energy and personality. Rapper, I kind of training up myself in terms of just trying to get him ready for the big times. A fella called Ari Lihar from Kirap. He's actually quite talented. You just have a little bit of stage fright. Okay. Local rappers, I really, really would like a strong year for them to come out. So you'll see, they just need a little push, push in the right direction.
Definitely. But what I would say though is that yes, almost all of these entries on the list are from America. But yes, as a Trinidadian, I definitely support Trinidadian hip hop, or should I say Trinbagonian hip hop, and I would love to see it really flourish and bloom.
Yeah.
And become accepted, not just in Trinidad and the Caribbean, but abroad as well too.
Right.
And I'm just hoping that these guys don't have don't. I'm not saying that they should, but I hope that they just they don't resort to following what's on radio.
Right.
So, if these lists here aren't evident, is it's cool to try new styles and do different things. You will stand out more.
Yeah, the term I use with respect to local hip hop is what I call cargo cult art, where you're replicating something, but you don't get why it works fundamentally. And there's the thing with, especially with hip hop is pretty much organic,
Exactly.
and you have to know how to build it from the ground up. Now. And with respect to the local music, and it's not to say that, well, by its very definition, hip hop is not hip hop can be organic within Trinidad. That is not the point. You could plant a seed anyway across the plant and have it, but it'll you have to nurture it in its soil, to use the metaphor of growth, in the proper way. And the seed of hip hop is here in Trinidad, but how to grow in a particular soil. You have to know how to cater it to its given environment. And you're getting a lot of that with this. You're getting halfway people taking I've seen a lot of local rappers. They're still good kids and everything, but they're still taking the lazy route with respect to styles. And it's because they're young. I mean, it's not, I don't expect them to be any kind of originators or innovators when it comes to the music.
Yeah.
But you're seeing some people taking kind of the lazy route with respect to the trap music. And, I'm sorry to say it, I think trap music kind of cancerous a little bit. It's a bit on the
designer, anyone? I mean, look
yeah,
at the
it's a bit on
success
the
compared to future.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit on the, I think we talked about this last time, but the cancerous end of things, I have a problem with that. But whatever. But we genuinely seeing some great local talent. Genuinely, like another shout out, a person who live relatively close to my fellow called J Smoke. Holy shit, that guy is like an unbelievable talent. I had no idea that such talent lives so close to me. So I recommend I just want to see local organic approach to things, and we'll get there, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Right. This year I don't know, I have a good vibe for this year. Again, you're feeling that it'll start to pick up, especially coming from people like Mike Wise in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Wise look like, from what I understand, he could really. I think he's working on his next album, so that coming out soon. And that, from what I understand,
I would love to hear it.
Yeah, that, from what I understand, supposed to be like really, really good and really a great mind blowing piece. So yeah, I mean, local music, or at least local hip hop, is just so damn strong right now for me.
Yeah.
I didn't expect, like, I knew it had talent, but when that We Noise concert was put on, I was like, yeah, that was really damn awesome. So
yeah,
that's that. Yeah,
right.
That is my 2 cents on that.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll say this in closing, though. What I would say, though, for those who are hearing, this podcast here, what I would say is that it's easy for people to just listen to a particular style of music and think, oh, that's just it. But there are, artists out there that are pushing the genre or the art form to different, to uncharted territories. And I think that those artists should be, praised. You should give them, you should check out their stuff as well too. Don't limit yourself to what you hear on radio and assume that's just it. So yes, trap rap over this year in particular got popular, with Future and Designer and Ray Shrimon and all these other people. But that's not it. And for me now, I tend to just look and see what's different out there, and that's how I discover these artists. And like they just drop out of thin air, or there's some big, platform where all these artists reside. I look around, like case in point, Nolan Ninja, who I've never heard about until last year. I just stumbled on this guy, and look, he managed to make my second favorite album of this year, regardless of genre. So that's how it is. You have to explore and just discover new styles, new musical styles as well too. Because like in my case, just because I put on a list of like favorite hip hop doesn't mean that's all I listen to. There are some other music that I enjoyed as well too. Beyonce's Lemonade, for one thing, I thoroughly loved. Anderson .Paak's Malibu, I thought was great as well too. So it's music. At the end of the day, it's not, you don't have to limit yourself to just one style of music. Feel free to dive in and discover new forms, and even if you don't like pop or whatever, and you're hip hop to the core, don't just assume that Future and Designer, that's it, that's the gold standard in terms of rap music. Digging deep, look for other artists that are doing new stuff and different things, experimental stuff as well. And if you don't really care about that, or you want to learn more, go back to the old school, learn about old rappers, old artists, and see how you could craft your style. If you are into music or you want to get into music, see how you could craft your style, and try to do your own thing. Push the genre forward thinking. That's it. That's my overall message. That's my last 2 words in this. So yeah, forward thinking.
Yeah, right.
So yes, folks, those were my top 16 best hip hop albums of the year, alongside with top 5 favorite EPs and instrumental albums of this year.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna make a little segue from hip hop. We're gonna get into the more visual side of the movies that we've checked out throughout this year. But in terms of visual effects, I am not. I mean, I don't know every single thing when it comes to big visual effects in movies and stuff. I mean, I'm aware
Right.
that they exist, but it's not like I could pick and say, okay, this was some great visual effects and stuff. I mean, a few shows that you'll hear about eventually on our top 16 list. We will give credit to visual effects, but we need somebody who could really sit down and really dissect these movies and be like, yes, this is actually a visual effect, this is not real, and yada yada yada.
Right. Right.
So we will be shifting things off to our special guest, Michael Richards of Phastraq, and he will be basically running down his list of favorite movies with visual effects, among other things. So just kick back, relax, and enjoy what he has to say, and then after that, we'll just get back to our respective lists. So take it away, Mike.
Hello, this is Michael Richards from Phastraq VFX Limited, and I'll be counting down the top 10 live action films in terms of visual effects. Now, this year, 2016, has been an awesome year for visual effects films and films in general, where we had a lot of interesting films, a lot of interesting visuals, a lot of creativity shown in ways that, we think that at some point we're going to reach the end of the creativity and there's going to be a shortage of new visual ways of representing stuff. And 2016 certainly proved itself to be an interesting year for repurposing some of the existing visuals that we may have seen over the years. All right, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. At number 10, I would say Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Now, on the surface, it's nothing too out of the ordinary in terms of horror films and to some extent the superhero genre. But this is, for all intents and purposes, a children's film where the main characters all embody some supernatural powers, and the villains are basically copies of Slender Man, right? And I thought that was really interesting. The design that they use for the villain characters, very reminiscent of Slender Man. At number 9, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. For those of us who love the Harry Potter series of films and the books, it's kind of good to get back into that wizarding world, although slightly different, and find new and creative creatures to explore that world of what we have come to know and love. Number 8, Captain America Civil War. And again, as a Marvel film, you would expect that the visual effects would be on point. But what was particularly impressive in this film to me was the use of the Black Panther. His suit is almost completely digital. And yes, there are some scenes where, if you look at the behind the scenes, they're shooting the actor wearing the suit, but that version of the suit was actually augmented digitally. So what you see in the final film is actually still a CGI version of the character. At number 7, of course, is Deadpool. Again, it would seem like, Deadpool being a superhero film, that you would know what to expect going into it. And what I found particularly fantastic about Deadpool was that opening sequence with the car chase. I mean, that was done on a level that we never expected to see. Much of the film's success was because of the initial leaked footage of the test for that sequence. And that sequence was so awesome that it excited the fans and got us wanting to see it. At number 6, The Jungle Book. And here we have Disney revisiting some more of its old material, which they've been doing for a couple of years now with much success. And I think Jungle Book is a testament to what can be done now with the new technology being applied to the old stories. And one other point to note that was particularly exceptional about Jungle Book are the end credits, where you have this sort of flip book animation style that is usually like a cutout 2D, and it would have been easy for them to do a 2D cutout pop up book. But rather than doing that, they took that concept and used the fully realized CG environments and characters coming out of this 2D book. And I thought that was really creative and to me, in a lot of ways, that kind of echoed what the entire film was about in terms of revisiting the 2D, but bringing it into a new dimension. And I love the choice that they made with that end credit sequence. Number five is a film that, I almost didn't expect to see this year stand out as much as it did. And that was Before I Wake. And it's a film about a little boy. He has the ability to realize his dreams. When he dreams, his dreams come to life. And his new foster parents, when they first realize it, they think, oh, this is really great. And they try to encourage it and try to encourage him to dream about their dead son, who they were actually replacing him with. And that opened a whole can of worms. And I thought that was a really interesting way to take this film where, it's not the story you would expect it to be. And it was very surprising. And the visuals in it were very well done. I love the visual style of this film. Number four, The Conjuring 2. We return to this franchise that, again, you would think as a horror film, there's only so much you could do and so many ways you could scare people and so many things you can do visually. And I love how the directors found really creative ways of using what our expectations are to build anticipation. They play with that visual medium in all sense and purposes in terms of leading you to think that one thing is going to happen and then switching it up and doing it in a different way. And that's what horror films are all about, anticipation. And they use the visuals very effectively to help deal with that anticipation and to build that anticipation in the audience. Another film that comes in on my list that's also a horror film and was really unexpected this year is Lights Out. I saw the original 3-minute film that it's based on, and I thought that, it was very well done, very well packaged in that runtime. And when I heard it was going to be made into a feature length, I thought, there's no way they can sustain the tension for 90 minutes. And to my surprise, they found very, very interesting ways of working around the gimmick of a ghost that only exists in the dark. And it was really entertaining visually and in terms of storytelling. Number two is a film based on a video game. And these are traditionally not very well received, but I think that Warcraft did an awesome job visually in terms of representing its source material and bringing it to life and the ultra realism of the rendering. I mean, this film is technically an animated film because everything that you see on screen is completely CGI, completely generated in the computer, but yet still it's done to such a level of realism and detail that you tend to forget that you're watching CGI. And even the live action people that are sparingly in the film are augmented to some extent to blend in with the rest of the CGI. And I think a fantastic job was done in terms of the visual representation of this film. And now we are at my ultimate favorite visual effects film of the year. Of course, it is Doctor Strange. And I know many people have reviewed this film, many people have spoken about the visual effects in this film. I was hooked on this film from the very first trailer when I saw Doctor Strange get a spirit lash and his soul jumped out of his body. And I was like, you know what? I have to see this film. And Marvel did not let me down. They found really, really, really creative ways of implementing the visuals and using the visuals to help tell the story. And it's a story that literally could not have been told without the use of visual effects and today's technology. And I applaud them for finding, really creative ways of implementing those visuals. So there you have it, my top 10 live action films in terms of visual effects for 2016. Okay, now on to my top 10 favorite animated films of 2016. Again, this is a huge category. A ridiculous amount of animated films came out this year that were all top notch. There were a number of films I would have probably liked to be on this list, and say just not because there are some really, really good films that were vying for the top spots. So without further ado, in number 10 is the movie Sing from Illumination, same people who brought you the Minions. And pretty much they are in a niche now where if they come out with a film, it's almost guaranteed to be hilarious, very entertaining, and Sing did not disappoint. Number 9, The Secret Life of Pets. Here's another film that I wasn't necessarily looking out for at the beginning of the year, but it became one of my favorite films of the year. When I watched this film, it was very entertaining. There were a number of twists and turns that this story took that I never expected it to take. And in all, it was a good time to have with the family. Number 8 is Storks. And Storks was really interesting, an interesting take on the whole story of, where do babies come from. And I love how they show the corporate assembly line sort of aspect of it, where these really efficient storks and the business just doesn't make sense anymore. So they changed their business model because of a problem they had some years ago. Number 7, Kung Fu Panda 3, right? Again, they're doing it with Kung Fu Panda. You would think that after this many films that they would run out of story to tell, but it's a really good arc on the overall story of Po and where he comes from. And I love what they're doing with this film, and I could actually want to see many, many more Kung Fu Panda films to come if they continue with this level of quality. Number 6, The Angry Birds movie. Here's a film that I never thought would go past 10 minutes. I mean, I know they have the animated TV series, and when I heard they were making a feature length film, I thought, you know what, this is going to be pretty shallow, and there's not going to be much depth to the characters. But surprise, surprise, this is a really entertaining story with a lot of depth, and the characters are all entertaining in their own right. And I love how they integrated the elements of the game into the actual story. At number 5, I know this is going to be a little bit controversial because some people would place this film much higher, but I would say Moana. And the reason why Moana is possibly this low on the list is because, like I said, this was a year filled with fantastic films. Now, Moana is also a great film. I love the film. I love the Rock's performance. All the characters, the actors were really solid in the film, but the storyline is typical Disney. This is the Frozen of 2016. So in that respect, it didn't break any new ground for me, but I still enjoyed it immensely, and I have no complaints about this film other than the story is pretty predictable. But I mean, with Disney's history at this point, yeah, that's a little bit expected. At number 4, another Disney film, which I think was much better executed than Moana in terms of its creativity and deviating from expectations, is Zootopia. And Zootopia was fantastic. I was shocked that it came out this early in the year, and it really set the tone for what this year would have been in terms of animated films. At number 3 is one of the films that we've been waiting for a really long time, and it's finally came, and oh my gosh, it was so worth the wait. Finding Dory. Everybody has fallen in love with the character of Dory since the original Finding Nemo, with her quirks and whatnot. And it's great that they decided to explore that story and give us some backstory into the character because, other than Nemo, she is the most beloved character in the series. Number 2 was a film that I was not looking for, and I was pleasantly surprised, and that is Kingsglaive Final Fantasy 15. I know Square Enix produces some fantastic animation, but this film was on a level that I have not seen in quite a while. I dare say it was better than Adventuring. The level of action, the level of magic, fantasy, it all culminated into a really beautiful package. And I don't think my 2016 would have been the same if I didn't see this film. I'm really glad I saw it. And I'm looking forward to, seeing what else Square Enix is going to bring out because they've been doing this for so long that you would tend to think that there's nothing new they can produce, and they show you that yes, there's a reason they are on top. They are the best in the game at what they do, and they did it fantastically. And of course, the number one animated film of 2016, without a shadow of a doubt, is Kubo and the Two Strings. This film is what animation is all about. It's a fantasy story, it's for the family, it's exciting. It uses stop motion animation mixed with CGI. It references origami. it's a winner in all accounts. Everything was done perfectly right about this film. As one reviewer said on YouTube, this is the Legend of Zelda film that we are never going to get. And it really is. It's the perfect blend of the music, the visuals, storytelling, the whole fantasy aspect, interesting characters, and epic adventure in every sense of the word. And it is without a doubt the best animated film of 2016.
And that was Michael Richards' take on, his best of list for the year with regards to visual effects.
Right.
And yeah, now we could just get back to, our list. So all right, so how we're gonna do this basically? First, you Ricardo, you're gonna talk about favorite video games, or at least best video games, or one or two that you managed to play and enjoy. And then
Right.
both of us will kind of just run through our favorite TV shows. We're not gonna do an exact list, but just the TV shows that stood out the most and why. And then of course we'll get to the moment you guys were waiting for. Hopefully, our top 16 best movies of 2016.
Right.
And of course followed by our top 10 worst movies, or at least in my case it'll be top 10, in your case it'll be top 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So gaming wise,
Yes.
this was again much similar to movies. A bit of a disappointing year for games. It's just they do stuff that was great, but other stuff wasn't so good.
Uh-huh.
And well, it had a bunch of great stuff that came out that I wasn't into. That's the sad part. So I mean, there's some of the big name games that came out. Something like Last Guardian came and went for a lot of people. They didn't care.
I didn't even hear about that game, to be honest.
Right, and that was a game that was hyped for a long time. The same people who made Shadow of the Colossus and
Weird.
Ico.
Okay. Yeah.
Ico. I don't really hear any big news about it. Some people didn't seem to care all that much. It's a bit of a disappointment. It looked like they just finally put it out and just to feed the fans, throw the fans a bone.
Uh-huh.
My highlight of the year for me was probably Doom.
Oh yes, the new Doom. Yes.
Yeah, new Doom 2016 was just such a breath of fresh air in terms of gaming. Had a ton of fun with that game. Just so smooth, so well made. It was just nice and simple, well thought out, and it was just one of the big things with a lot of games a lot of people hate is that it just don't have the good. Not that what's called it, boy, when your game just well made in terms of just being loaded properly, just the technical stuff now. Load times fast, just frame rate pretty good. Other games I played well. A big highlight game for last year, but I played it a lot this year, and mostly because a lot of the DLC came out this year, which was Fallout 4.
Right.
Fallout 4 again, main story was a bit of a mess, frankly. But the gameplay, there's a ton of fun with it. As I say, it never get bored firing a miniature nuclear weapon against enemies. But some of the DLC was quite good. Far Harbor I thought was excellent. Nuka World was okay. But for the most part, it's a game that the DLC fixed it, and a lot of the mods, because they started to mod the game for a while, started to fix it. What else came out? A bunch of cool shit came out in terms of Titanfall 2 was a big hype for me as well. Titanfall 1 was a little bit of a disappointment, mostly like a glorified multiplayer game, and they decided to give it a proper single player this round. A lot of people enjoyed the single player. I thought it was okay, not the most brilliant single player or anything like that, but it was just so clever and inventive in some of the level designs, and just a ton of fun. Again, another game that was well made in terms of worrying about load times. You don't have to think about that. Frame rate is pretty solid for the most part. You don't have to have, of course you had a okay computer. I don't think I have this brilliant computer, but the computer is enough to run it well. And I enjoyed the game. I had a ton of fun. The only problem with Titanfall for me was the multiplayer. In the multiplayer, some of the netcode was really badly done, much worse than the first game. So I just couldn't play. I just couldn't play the multiplayer because I was just getting my ass kicked because the frame rates are just not the frame rates, but the ping was just going up and down in terms of latency. So I couldn't play this game properly. Although the local group, the people at GAT, shout out to the people at GAT, Gamers Association of Trinidad and Tobago. These guys were having actually big Titanfall runs every Friday and Thursday nights. But I couldn't get into any of those because it was just a little bit of work and then research and I had to write. So it was just bad timing for me. But Those guys were playing a lot of Titanfall. I hope they keep it up. And Titanfall was a game that was the little engine that could, because they had big Call of Duty games and they had Battlefield 1 and all those big games, which I didn't get into or cared for. Call of Duty, I hear it was a mess. Battlefield 1 was pretty decent, from what I understand. Other little story games that came out were pretty good, from what I understand. But again, I just waiting for them for Steam sales at the end of the year, because I heard like it had a bunch of technical problems, which I have a big issue with. Mafia 3 I heard was quite good.
Heard of that, yeah.
Actually, it focused on a lot of race issues in the South, and much like the Mafia games. Yeah, much like the Mafia games. From before, and Mafia 2 is an excellent game. I really recommend anybody play that. Pick it up now. We go play it. It's pretty good. This one was quite good, but I heard there's a bunch of technical issues, and I had to wait for DLC. So I'll wait for it to download. Wait for it to drop in price, and I'll wait for the DLC to come out, and I'll play all of that in some thing. Watch Dogs 2, big highlight as well. A lot of people was playing this. The Watch Dogs 1 is just a massive disappointment for most people, but Watch Dogs 2 fixed a lot of stuff, and I heard it was pretty decent. People liked it. And the big game of the year was Overwatch. Overwatch basically take over from where TF2 was roughly 9 years ago. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge fan of Team Fortress 2, and yeah, Overwatch, I'll say ultimately it's not as, the skill ceiling is not as high as Team Fortress 2, but the learning curve is much better. So if you want to jump into it, and it's much more well designed for casual players. Not as bad as Team Fortress 2. Team Fortress 2 has a really hard entry point. If it wasn't into TF2 early in the game, it's kind of hard for you to sit down and learn it. But yeah, Overwatch was a big game for the year for a lot of people. It just totally took the world by storm. I kind of lament that the developers for TF2 kind of just shit the bed when it comes to making TF2 work, and it just a complete mess in terms of matchmaking. And the running joke is that Overwatch is better than Team Fortress 2. But yeah, the paradigm for that for me, the statement is, well, yeah, because the TF2 devs made sure that happened. They didn't seem to give a shit, and it kind of pissing a lot of people off right now. And right. TF2 just gonna die a kind of slow death just because the developers just stopped giving a fuck. But that's whatever. I can't see myself getting into Overwatch. I play a little bit of it. I enjoy it, but it's a little too simplistic for me. I'm not knocking it in that sense, because it's actually a really well done game, well made, really really good on a technical standpoint. And yeah, so that's that. I can't think of anything else. I'm probably missing some big like all these little small games for the year. Final Fantasy came out, a lot of people was playing that. Again, not a fan.
Neither am I, to be honest. So yeah.
What else? But it had just a bunch of great games this year for me. I just had a ton of fun playing a lot of this shit for the whole year. So I was playing just a bunch of Dark Souls came out. That was good. A lot of people was enjoying that. It had a bunch of like small games that was a lot of people was enjoying that. Super Hot came out. Recommend that. There's a nice slow game, really really clever and strange shooter, and kind of existential, but it was pretty well done.
Okay.
As I mentioned, Doom. Yeah, no, Doom was just play Doom, please. It was just pretty
I will. I'll
totally recommend it.
I'll make the effort to play.
Yeah, it just like for me, I'm a big shooter dude, so it's like
I'm a shooter dude. I love
fast
shooters.
Right.
Yeah.
The spiritual sequel to a game I was playing. Shit, what's the name of this game, boy? Where you're playing with a boy, and it's just about shadow, and oh gosh, what's the name of this game? It's slipping my mind right now.
Why does that sound like an indie game or something?
Yeah, relatively small game. Trying to think. I'm going through Limbo, right? So the spiritual sequel to Limbo came out this year, and that was really really cool. I did not play this game, but the good people at Aaron and Danny at Game Grumps played out the entire game. So I kind of saw what the story is about. I think is what's the name of this game, boy? Should
have written a list.
So Inside. Inside is the name of the game.
Inside, okay.
Inside, yeah. Inside is the name of the game. So that's a big nice puzzle platformer for eating. I love Limbo. Limbo was really good. I didn't get into it, but I actually got into it relatively recently. And I was like, yeah, this is a kick-ass game. Enjoying it. Right. What else? Call of Duty was okay for a lot of people. It was in space this time, so a lot of people just didn't care. But for all people, these main stories kind of shit. And that's it. I think I didn't really think that's pretty much it for gaming for the year for me. It had a bunch of other like small little side games, stuff like that Dragon Cancer and all of these like Batman had the Telltale games had a bunch of great games as well.
Yeah.
And then, well, it's just hype for new games coming up. That is for me this year. Well, of course, for me, the first big game for the year for me would be Mass Effect Andromeda. I'm a huge fan of the Mass Effect franchise. I still play Mass Effect multiplayer to this day. It's a ton of fun. I actually think people should still get into it. But Mass Effect Andromeda hopefully will have a great multiplayer, and I hope a lot of people jump into that.
All right.
Yeah, of course, Kubo. Sorry, I want to say Kubo. Not Kishi. I want to say him as well. The guy who left Kojima. Right, Kojima's new game is coming.
Kojima.
Yeah, Hideo Kojima. He coming with a new game. That is his new game is Death Standing.
Yeah.
Death Standing or Death Stranding? Death Standing, I want to say. Yeah.
I think it's that.
Yeah, we see this bit, like a lot of kick-ass trailers from that.
Yes.
Norman Reedus.
And we reviewed them too. Yeah.
Yeah, Norman Reedus and Death Stranding. That's the name of it.
Right.
Yeah, Norman Reedus, this one of the Three Amigos directors, Mexican director.
Guillermo del Toro, the great.
Del Toro, yeah. Mads Mikkelsen is in it. That was a kick-ass trailer. I just love that trailer.
Yeah, so did I.
And I'm pretty hyped for that. I really hyped for that game. And there's just a bunch of great games coming this year for stuff like, Last of Us Part 2 coming out, which is, I don't know where they're going to go with that, but cool, great. This game I'm pretty hyped for. I just really hope that it doesn't kind of shit the bed, especially with Mass Effect. Mass Effect 3 pissed off a lot of people, and it wasn't just the ending. It was kind of a lot of the game. In fact, for me, almost the entire Mass Effect 3 was pretty bad. It only have one part of Mass Effect 3 that worked, and it wasn't even that good, but it was still okay and much better than the rest of the game. But yeah, Mass Effect 3 just totally dropped the ball with that third game. So I hope they at least pick it up and give us a decent enough story. I don't expect it to be as good as Mass Effect 2, even 1, but yeah, just give us something. That'll just a little coherent, just a little nice universe building. Although Mass Effect 3 does so much damage that I couldn't, it couldn't work in any workable sense. So
that's it.
Yeah. So gaming for this year was a okay gaming year. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of games. I thought a bunch of small games I played that was pretty badass, but I forget most of them. Sadly.
That's fine.
Yeah, but yeah. So this year, solid gaming. If you could get into it, jump in. Yeah.
Cool.
Of course, your Dotas and your whatnots. Those games always will flourish.
Yeah, of course.
You can't really get away from that.
All right. Well, right. So you'll just move on from games. You'll just touch on television. So like we said before, it's not going to be official list. We're just going to run through the TV shows that we both enjoyed.
Right.
So for me, the ones that just from what I remember reviewing, I really enjoyed season 4 of Orange is the New Black.
Right.
It went to some deep dark territory, but it came out with this emotionally crushing last couple of episodes of that season, and it just made for a very memorable finale that just had me on the edge of my seat, like oh shit, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah.
Penny Dreadful from Showtime came to an end, although I find it just end on this really sad, depressing note. But then again, the whole style of it was kind of meant, more or less kind of emphasizing these characters. There's no hope for these characters. It's just all doom and gloom. But I thought that it ended off well enough. I just felt that they kind of rushed the end. Maybe it should have given it a couple more episodes, but it's done. So just looking forward to what Showtime has next to offer.
Right.
BoJack Horseman season 3.
Yes.
Check that out. Thoroughly loved it. That particular episode, I think it's episode 6 or 8. One of those episodes, the one that you recommended, was like one of the best episodes ever in television. I totally agree. I love that episode, and I believe there's a list out there.
The episode where he was in the equivalent of Japan.
Yes.
Underwater equivalent of Japan. Yeah.
And folks, there's a list right now of best TV, best episodes in TV for this year. That it was number 1.
Yeah. That was a workout. It was really, really well done.
That was a masterpiece right there.
Yeah.
What else?
Well,
did I see?
Of course. Well, for me, of course, OJ Made in America.
Yes, well, yeah, technically it is. Well, it did premiere as a movie, but it also showed on TV on ESPN as well too, as a 5-part miniseries.
Right.
But there was also American Crime Story season 1, The People vs. O.J. Simpson, fantastic season.
Actually, that is one of the shocking things, because usually your documentaries always be inferior to your live action in terms of hype and thing, but this was not the case in this case. That documentary is so well damn done, and I really love People vs. OJ.
Yes.
Made in America. I was like, holy shit, Dread. That is an amazing damn documentary for the year, Dread.
Yeah, but we'll get to that in a while. Don't worry.
Yeah, but I consider it I put it in my television list because it's in television.
Yeah.
Guys, I have it as television.
That's right.
Night of is another show.
Night of. I was just about to say Night of was great as well too.
Pretty damn good.
That theme song still haunts me to this day.
Yeah.
It's so melancholy, so sad, so dark, but it was such
a great ethical and moral piece about, you know, the nature of how you should treat yourself and see yourself in society, because John Turturro's character, that last piece where you say about how you should, when he said fuck them,
you
know, don't let people, you know, drive you, and, you know, the idea of shame and living a bad look, but if you're good, it don't matter now.
Yes.
He was a character that was not attractive at all. You know, the whole point is, you know, that whole separation between attractiveness and morality is this puppet on our society now. And another thing too is likability is another big factor that was a big thing. You have a lot of people who are very likable and attractive, but they're not nice people. You know, happy people does not equal good people. And that's where that whole paradigm gets into now. And that last piece, you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Great writing, great acting. Riz Ahmed was a big breakout this year.
Yes,
as an actor, he had a really good year. That's pretty much it.
What else? There was Mr. Robot season 2, which we were fair towards. I mean, we weren't blown away by it compared to season 1. I thought it still worked.
Pretty. I still enjoyed it. It carried the story in an interesting direction, but it didn't. I won't say it as different as say how True Detective went with the season 2.
Yeah.
But it worked. I enjoyed it a lot. I had a lot of fun with it. It ultimately was pretty good for me. What else?
Oh well, going back to Netflix, there was Daredevil season 2.
Yeah, Daredevil.
Which brought the Punisher to television, and
pretty badass.
Great news. Sorry that we the Punisher is supposed to have its own spin-off. So yes, hallelujah. Luke Cage.
Money lament about that Daredevil season 2, if I remember correctly. I find they shouldn't have focused so much on Elektra.
Yes, I agree. It was a lot about Elektra and, you know, the hand and ninjas
because her being in the middle of the story just to distract Matt would have been perfect. If she left after that, or she got into some trouble and then we never hear about her, then they decided to bring her back and make it about the plan. And to me, it should have been all about the Punisher the entire season. All about the Punisher. And that they kind of half-assed at the end with Punisher just helping out with a couple sniper shots. I like, how come Punisher using the chain gun, man? Come on. I wanted to see Punisher using the gun in the ending, man. And that should have been a big badass action sequence with him. And it should have been all about the Punisher. I find bringing Elektra in. Elektra's supposed to be for season 3. Save all of that for season 3.
Yeah, I agreed.
And so the final that's the only thing that...
Yeah, so like in the final episode, we get to see, Frank Castle with the official, Punisher shit and whatnot. Yeah.
But at the end there was again, he had a bunch of weapons. He found a bunch of weapons. He didn't use it. Just snipe with a gun and leave.
And that was it. Number one, whatever.
Anyway,
but Luke Cage though was a breath of fresh air for me.
I loved
it a lot. It's easily the lightest of all the Marvel Netflix TV series. Basically, it's not as dark as Daredevil and especially Jessica Jones. But this one was like, I don't know, like neo blaxploitation for me. I love the soundtrack from both Adrian Young and Ali Shaheen Muhammad of A Tribe Called Quest. They brought that sort of funky soul assisted sort of music to this kind of 70s. They brought this 70s vibe into this modern story. And Luke Cage was so charismatic. He's a great character, and I love how they put it in this whole modern social context. With Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. It worked perfectly for me. So can't wait to see what they do with season 2.
For me, Luke Cage, it was going good. Now, actor who has been having an excellent year this year, Mashallah Ali.
Who is in Moonlight, which
Moonlight, which we did not get a chance to see.
No, we
didn't get a chance to see. No, but Mashallah Ali has been an excellent. He's a character actor, always loved. But so to see him in this was great. He was great in this. And sadly, I think they should have made it all about him, because when his character dies in the middle, somewhere in the middle. It kind of take a dip a little bit for me, because I thought the second villain didn't really work that well.
He was a little too cartoonish. Even though I could get that what it was going for, it felt more of a blaxploitation villain. Like, on the one hand, you would have like the gangster type, and then you have the kind of over the top kind of black
Yeah.
parody of either a bad guy. That's how that villain felt like a
Yeah.
parody of a super villain, basically. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I still enjoyed it all the same though. Can't wait to see what they do with season 2.
Yeah.
Also with sitcoms, Atlanta we saw,
Yes.
courtesy of FX. Great
But this,
TV show.
yeah, this was,
Donald Glover killed it in terms of
yeah,
not
yeah.
just with the acting, but of course with the writing and just capturing that whole awkwardness of just being a black man in Atlanta.
Yeah, this Atlanta was excellent for me. Easily one of my favorites for the year. I'll say, I Atlanta was really well done for me. For me, Atlanta was perfect way to deal with the angst of black millennials. Donald Glover did a great job of illustrating that. That guy who played Paperboy, he's a big standout for me.
Yeah, he was funny. He had some of the best lines in the whole show. Yeah.
Yeah, the girl who played Van, loved her. She was great in it. They had some great episodes. Like they had this one, the episode with the white guy, and then BAN.
Of course,
that
was like the best episode for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just real hard. And then the one with BAN. I'm sorry, not BAN. The one with the white guy where they had to visit the house.
Mm-hmm.
And she, they just get into the whole culture of, undermining and exploiting black struggle now, and this BS kind of culture. Yeah. And it was so fake and it's so well done. But this was really well done. The ending was great.
Yeah, I love the ending as well too. You were haunted by the ending, but I just love how they use that Outcast song. Elevators.
Yeah, use elevators and things. Yeah. I like it. This was hard though. And then freaking Keith Stanfield was a big breakout character. I'll say that was, if anything, Insecure needed that as a show.
Mm-hmm. Yes, by the way, Insecure, another great show that we saw from HBO. Yeah. Really great sitcom as well too. More like, how African American, relationships work, from a female perspective. That was really great.
Sorry, it came well with that. She was strong. As I said, the only thing that I was missing with that was they're missing the pyro but they needed more of that. So Keith Stanfield's character was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He needed his character to be more featured. But he was funny as well and really well done. He can't say the letter C ending.
Oh yes, he was.
Yeah, cool.
So like I say, a lot of great stuff on TV that we got to see. Right. So moving from great TV to terrible movies.
Yeah.
So I will start a countdown my top 10 worst movies of 2016. So as soon as I reach around 5 and I say my 5, then Ricardo is going to come in and say, his 5, and then we'll just go 4, 3, 2, 1 and thereabout. So this honorable mentions actually go to movies that could have been way better but just end up feeling hard. Mechanic Resurrection was one for me. Took itself way too seriously, and then for one thing, we did not need a sequel to a movie that people forgot and nobody cared about. Warcraft, which, yes, I know they really wanted to make this great epic movie, and for me, I was hoping that this was going to be the video game movie that would have been taken seriously after after years of waiting, and unfortunately it just wasn't. It was just
they break my heart with this one. They break my heart with this one because Junker Jones just tries so hard. He loved Warcraft and he's a good filmmaker. I think he's a really good filmmaker. Moon is excellent, but jeez, it just didn't gel at all. Paula Patton was terrible in this.
Lord, the way how they treated her character, the way how the character's arc, I should say, was just horrible for me.
It didn't work.
Yeah, and finally, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Oh, really?
I know it was bad and all that in terms of execution.
Much higher on my list.
But I know. But because I saw the Ultimate Edition and I got a sense of what they were trying to do, it kind of made me feel really sorry that they could have done way better than this. But then when you really think about it, it was just a bunch of ego and I could do this better than you, Marvel, and then this is what we got. We got they became the the laughing stock of the whole comic book movie world basically with that show.
Yeah.
But anyway, so coming in at number 10 is Gods of Egypt. I really want to put this in my dishonorable mentions because it was just so goddamn funny. but because it was just terrible in terms of its story, in terms of its acting, especially this hammy performance by Jared Butler, and the overabundance of CG, this was a terrible movie from start to end. Number 9 was 50 Shades of Black, which was a parody movie that could have been so much better if, Marlon Wayans could have just used that head of his instead of trying to go for these really vulgar, dumb, juvenile jokes. And you had the perfect idea. Take one of the worst the worst movie of 2015 and make a spoof out it. It could have worked, but I think Marlon was just the wrong person to do it. Maybe somebody like one of the older Wayans would have done a better job with this, but Marlon, nah, sorry.
Yeah, squandered the opportunity.
Yeah. Number 8 for me was Dirty Grandpa, which is a show I did not want to see, but I just had to see because of, Robert De Niro. How far did he go? And in this case, I mean, we like him with the full mouth and this and stuff, with Goodfellas and Casino, but in this case, he was just annoying. It was just this one bad joke after another. It was just like, you just want to shoot this guy down. You just want to see him die. Zac Efron was terrible as the street guy. And for me, well, I know in your case, you'll feel offended by this. The way how they treat Audrey Plaza, they just kind of over-sexualize her, make her into this, like, real slut of a character just trying to have sex with Robert De Niro. That was it.
Yeah, but to me, Robert De Niro just have to do these script movies. They're kind of forcing him. They kind of put a gun to your baby head, basically. I don't know, you get the feeling that they put a gun to your grandchild head and say, look, you gotta make this nonsense. Because and he do the intern this year or last year?
It was last year.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I said that bullshit he doing. It's like, why are you doing this nonsense?
Lord.
And then Aubrey Plaza, I consider her the female equivalent of Zach Galifianakis. As in the sense that everything she's good in but movies. I love her in everything but movies.
Yeah.
She just she do this thing with his boy with Mike and Dave or some bullshit.
Mike and Dave need wedding dates or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and she real and you were pissing me off with that. She always part of these movies where you have to improvise. It's like improv. You half-ass the script and then hopefully comedians funny enough to improv.
And she does it in this movie too. Yes,
yeah, I'm getting tired of that shit, Judd. I was like, enough of this too. Nonsense.
All right, number 7 for me was a movie, a so-called horror movie that I covered before called The Darkness. This is not a horror in any stretch of the imagination. What it did, the only horrific thing is that it took great talents from, Kevin Bacon and Radha Mitchell and just squandered them over probably the worst horror movie I saw all year. And this was a great year for horror movies, but of course we had to get schlock like this and just fail miserably.
Yeah.
Number 6 for me was Suicide Squad, but in this case is the extended cut because the theatrical was dumb, but it was kind of fun in a way. But the extended, I expected a lot more. I expected more Joker, expected scenes, or at least for them to fill together parts that just didn't really make sense in the theatrical cut.
Right.
But it just was the same movie. They had I think it's 11 to 13 minutes, and it was the same thing. Nothing made any significance at all. None of the extra scenes did. And it just reminded me of the stuff that, I ignored the first time, the bad things that I just let slide because, it's dumb fun. But, seeing it again and this extended cut was just like, yeah, boy. I actually let that slide. Nah, but that was terrible, Dread.
Right.
So, Suicide Squad extended cut, a huge failure. And it's ironic because, the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman, I could stomach watching that again and sit through the extended cut of Suicide Squad. Just see.
Not me.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I know. Yeah. Number 5 for me is the aptly titled The Do-Over, which is the this movie that Adam Sandler just did on Netflix because he had nothing else but to do with his life. And yeah, it was forgettable. It was dumb. He brought David Spade in it to embarrass himself again, and he's like age 50 or whatever, just to be like the side character. And yeah, it was just a waste of time. I can't even remember what the premise was about. It was just lame. And Adam Sandler, he doesn't even care anymore. So why should I care about this movie here?
I'm gonna step in with my number 5 now.
Yes, please. What is your number 5?
Assassin's Creed. Bullshit.
Ah, boy, you saw Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I went to see this nonsense. Oh my gosh, bullshit. God, my God. The thing is, they totally missed the boat of why it is that the games work. The first game was decent enough. The second game I thought was a masterpiece and really worked. But the big part is that all of this stuff in the future is the most boring shit. Why it is that you're focusing on that in the movie? and they just half-ass this movie. Everybody don't need to be there, and there are some good damn actors in this bullshit.
Jeremy Irons, Marion Cotillard.
Yeah. By the way,
Michael
she ain't
Kenneth
one of my
Williams.
favorite movies for the year. She ain't one of my favorite movies of the year, but to see her in this, I was like, ugh, bullshit, bullshit. Jeremy Irons, which is one of the few things in Batman v Superman that I liked. His Alfred I actually liked and was kind of sassy. Yeah, he was total nonsense in this. It's like, ugh, this was just gross and disgusting. And the ending was such a bullshit ending. Fuck this movie. They cater to
don't tell me there's a sequel bait thing they do there.
Not really, but they just kind of cater to the fans in the lamest way. And it's like, oh, they actually decided to go with this to the ending. Fuck this movie. Rubbish.
Wow.
Rubbish movie.
But yeah, Ricardo, thank you so much for going out there and, risking yourself to watch Assassin's Creed just so you could put it on your stuff list. That takes credit, man.
I think I hated it more because it was so much trouble just to get there and watch this damn bullshit. So whatever. Oh, boy.
Yeah, moving along.
Waste our time, yeah.
Yeah. So my number 4 is a show that I didn't even want to spend time talking about. Is the next show from Netflix, True Memoirs of an International Assassin.
Right.
Living proof why I still don't care about Kevin Smith. Kevin James. Oops.
Yeah.
Not just as a comedic actor, but just as a human being. It was just terrible and boring and just made no sense to me. That's a waste of time.
I still don't. I really don't get how he works, like his appeal. Like apparently he's been making money. Like those stupid mall cop movies keep making money, So whatever.
Yeah.
He's that Friedberg and self some model of just doing cheap shit, and then making back the cash. That's why I think
clearly.
Yeah, just a raw investment, cheapest approach to filmmaking.
Right.
Whatever. He had an okay stand-up, but jeez, boy, them shows. And I was never a fan of King of Queens, but yeah, another person I just can't stand. Whatever. Moving on.
Right. What was your number 4 then?
Right. My number 4 is Suicide Squad. This movie sucked. But I didn't hate it. I didn't absolutely hate it. It has sucked. A total mess of an edit. For me, well, you watched the. I didn't watch it. I don't think did I even sit down and watch? Yeah, I did watch the Blu-ray cut, the extended cut. Yeah, the extended cut is kind of
waste of time.
Yeah, total waste of time. It was just a mess. Again, the edit was a problem. A bunch of stupid character motivations. They keep establishing the characters over and over. It have like multiple establishing characters. They established Deadshot like 3 times in the movie, right? And it's like, why? It learned to establish a character proper. Same thing with Harley Quinn. They focus on she as Harley Quinn way too much. Bunch of side characters who could get cut. Decide to bring magic in the universe to strip it this way. The only thing I liked in this movie was Viola Davis as Amanda Waller.
Yeah.
I thought she fit the role quite good, even though her character was a little darker than the character should be. She's supposed to be kind of amoral, and she was just straight up immoral in this movie. But she was pretty good. She played the role quite good. The movie looked decent enough. Again, good character, good coloring. Whatever it is, music I enjoy. Jared Leto's Joker I didn't hate as much as other people, but yeah, he was just a kind of pointless kind of Joker. Even though I liked what the gangster type Joker they did with it, it had its moments.
Yeah.
But yeah, the edit was a complete fucking mess. Total shit show. So yeah, this was pretty bad for me.
Oh, and I forgot to mention too, whatever happened to the whole eulogy for El Diablo? Man just came and went, and nobody just cared.
The movie just a stuff bullshit, and El Diablo shouldn't even be in the damn movie in the first place. Like,
I
characters should have cut.
Yeah.
They had people I like in this, and they had like Adam Beach in a total waste role, Judd. He just come and then dead dotish, quick. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't do nothing with this, Judd. They really half-assed it.
Yeah.
But as I say, I don't hate it as much as and then the other movie that's coming up, because I get the sense that this movie didn't get a fair shake. That's why I don't really hate this movie. They really half-ass it, and they didn't tell the director he had to keep quiet about it, so he didn't complain. And I hear that he getting another movie to direct. This is basically, I think Gotham City Sirens they're going to be doing. I think that's what they're planning to do. Because Harley Quinn was by far the biggest hit. She was the big hit out of this movie, So that's Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, and I think somebody else, Catwoman maybe. I think it's that. So it's a kind of birds of prey-ish kind of thing going on there. It's a pretty popular relationship with the 3 of them anyway, especially between Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. A lot of DC fans probably ship them or whatever. But in the animated universe, it was pretty well done. And the comics have a lot of great comics with the 2 characters. So hopefully that could be good. But, given DC and what's going on the top, again, as far as I'm concerned, DC has brain cancer at this point. It's just a total mess at the top going on. DC movies have brain cancer. So whatever. Yeah. So moving on.
Right. Moving on to number 3.
Yeah.
Is another made for TV movie, Sharknado: The Fourth Awakens.
Yeah, again.
And this was one where I wasn't even you would expect it, but because of how insanely dumb and fun the third one was, but actually I'll lie, actually the second one was dumb and fun, but third one is where I started to see cracks within the whole foundation of the Sharknado franchise.
Right.
But fourth is where it just started to fall apart for me. And
this is one of those things. It's kind of like with the Expendables. You laugh at the first one, okay, and then you think, all right, how to improve or expand upon this? You improve the comedy, right? You improve the comedy, or you make the action actually work in a real insane way. So you improve that.
Which part 2 did well,
but no, part 2 for me, part 2 was real shit. Part 2 was much worse than part 1 in Expendables. In that case, now, for me, I know Expendables 3 was just a colossal waste of time. But that's the problem. They just kind of half-ass it and think, well, people are still going to get the joke now. It's like, no, you have to improve yourself. Just do like how the 21 Jump Street people do, where they improve the humor, right? So for me, even though 21 Jump Street was real silly and ridiculous as the remake, the second one really worked and was just genuinely funny. Because they improve on what you're supposed to do with that in terms of the writing and having it have that proper forethought now. No forethought. None. With the Sharknado franchise, and it just half-assed. And it's like, yeah, I don't going to waste my time with this.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is your number 3?
My number 3 is Ben-Hur.
Yay! The one remake that I'm so glad I did not watch.
God, this movie really wastes my time, Dread. Oh my gosh. Now, for me, again, this is another example of movies that not supposed to exist. Or if you're going to try to pull it off, at least give some lip service and some proper respect. Yes, you're going to fuck it up because it's a classic. But at least try something, man. Shit. Oh, shit, man. This thing really wastes my time, And I mean, it just... I mean, talk about fucking it up, eh? Why you even do this, Dread? Why would anybody even attempt this? But whatever. They didn't even try. Didn't give a fuck. And nobody cared. And I'm glad it failed. Yes. Rubbish. Into the garbage bin with 2016.
Yeah, so Hollywood, next time, stop taking classic movies and remaking them. We don't need them, please.
Ben-Hur is a true classic, Judd. I mean, I love the first Ben-Hur movies. Are excellent.
Me too, yes.
Yeah, and to make this nonsense, and I was thinking, all right, damn Christian people, they kind of fucking it up, but they decided to do Ben-Hur, boy, and like, nah, boy, that's a kind of bad move, though. Bad move. Fuck it up. They fuck it up. Bye-bye. Go away.
All right.
Let's
we almost there. We almost there. So
crumple it up into the trash bin.
Yeah, my number 2 was a movie that I knew was going to fail from the word go, but I just out of curiosity just needed to see how bad it was. Norm of the North, hands down the worst animated movie of 2016. Probably one of the worst animated movies ever created.
Yeah, by the time you hear Rob Schneider, bullshit.
Yeah, animation didn't work. The voice actors didn't work. Nothing worked. It was just a failure.
Yeah, waste of time.
Yeah. Anyway, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is Independence Day Resurgent.
Ah, boy.
Again, this is another example of just the great, what's the name of the movie? Let's call him. How do you fuck that up?
Yeah, History of Violence once again.
Yeah, History of Violence.
That famous line.
How do you fuck that up? I mean, they could have done. I mean, to me, the first Independence Day was so enjoyable, so many memorable characters. Totally work, and this was just like, what the fuck are you watching here, Judd? Everything didn't work in this total mess. The script, they could have just sit down and make the script work. We could have at least, expand on the ideas properly now. You have other alien races. Let's see those other alien races, for God's sake. God damn, man. They decided to just repeat the first film in the dumbest way, and nothing made sense, nothing worked, didn't flow, total waste of my time. And I was like, wow, well, I will fuck this up, though. Moving on. Next.
Right, and number 1, believe it or not, is actually your number 2. Independence Day Resurgence.
Yeah.
This was the one that I went cinema, and believe it or not, I think I said this in our review of it. I was psyched for this. Like, I bought the original the original movie on Blu-ray, and the unfortunate thing is that every time I pop it in and you see the 20th Century Fox logo, I'm gonna see the trailer for Independence Day Resurgence. I'm gonna get mad. I'm gonna remember when I went to cinema by myself, watched this film in disbelief, and walked out trying to figure out how this thing could have failed, why this thing came out the way it did. Yeah, man. Like, I mean, I went in psych. I mean, it's not like I was looking forward to a sequel over the past 20 years, but I mean, geez, it's a sequel to one of the greatest blockbuster movies, summer blockbuster of all time, and it just did not do anything. It was dark. It took itself way too seriously, and even without Will Smith, there was no charisma. There was no heart.
That was the main mistake there. The second you do no Will Smith, that is like a death knell right there. And then he gone in to do another bullshit movie. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Well, actually, not one but two, because Collateral Beauty, right? I heard real bad things about Collateral Beauty. Yeah,
I didn't see that. That would probably make Melissa to see it, because I didn't go and see that bullshit. Because
I am not going to.
I was watching it. I was like, yeah, this is the laziest Oscar bait, or at least trying to be Oscar bait. It came do that. And I was like, I'm not going to see that.
Just because you watch Assassin's Creed don't mean I gotta watch Collateral Beauty.
Yeah, fuck that. I'm not going to see her.
But yeah, for me though, Independence Day Resurgence, worst movie of 2016.
Yeah.
So now, at long last, Ricardo, worst movie and why? Yeah.
Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Woo! Again, the great William Hurt. How do you fuck that up?
Yes.
How do you fuck that up? And I would have shoot a bullet in fucking Zack Snyder chest if I had the chance, when I would coming out of that cinema. Seriously, this movie, again, here's a simple metaphor I'm going to use to explain why I think this is the worst movie for this year. So if Suicide Squad is like a A student getting a D on the final exam, imagine a student, A student in high school physics getting a D in the final exam and say, hey boy, you fucked this up, boy. Look, you could have made this amazing. You could have pulled off an A in the test and you get a D in your high school test, right?
Right.
Batman v Superman is the equivalent of a PhD candidate getting a D on the high school test.
Ooh.
That is how I see this. It's not about objectively bad or anything like that. It's about what this movie should have been. This movie they had 2 years to do this shit. They announce it, they hype it. People were skeptical of the idea of Batman and Superman because Batman and Superman it's very difficult to justify why Batman and Superman should be fighting each other. It's done hard to justify that, but you could pull it off. I ain't saying you can't pull it off. They pull it off ever so often. Usually it's an alternate reality kind of thing when Batman and Superman have to fight. But usually, or one of the characters go on crazy like Superman get poisoned for poison ivy or some shit like that. Whatever. Point is, you have 2 years. This movie should have been a whole year of polish. People write the scripts before. You could have taken the material, and what these idiots decide to do is say, all right, let you just collage together all of the dumbest comic book narratives we know from, like Death of Superman and Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, Dark Knight Returns are sort of the most overrated comic books together into one movie and just cobble together this complete clusterfuck mess of a film. It didn't work. Very little of this movie worked for me. I mean, there's only action sequence I like was Batman when he had to rescue Martha, which was the stupidest reason. I mean, the whole Martha thing was just so fucking dumb, George.
Yes, it was. Let's all admit it. It was.
It didn't flow. Nothing about it made sense. I mean, Cavill, I feel really bad for Henry Cavill in this because it's like, jeez, boy, look what they do with Superman in this. Now, total nonsense. Script didn't work. Wonder Woman, you're not sure if she can act because no, she movie have to salvage this mess now. This mess of a DC universe, and I get the feeling they won't do it. I made a bet with a friend that if Hillary Clinton lose the election, Wonder Woman would be good. That was my bet. And she ended up losing the election, which I didn't expect to happen. And I was like, I hope Wonder Woman actually good to validate it. But I get the feeling that's not going to happen. Wonder Woman going to be mediocre and forgettable. I get the feeling. I hope it'll be at least as good as Captain America, the first Avenger, but whatever. This movie did not work. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Jeez, boy. What the fuck was that?
Worst villain ever. Yeah, and I thought even worse than Enchantress. Right.
And here's another thing. I'm gonna say something, me personally. This movie, here's why I think this movie personally offended me. Not only this movie should have been polished from since a year before the film in terms of making it. The movie should have been all polished instead of like trying to invent a set of bullshit and make this bullshit narrative with a set of extra morality and self-aggrandizing nonsense. The extended cut is an insult to my intelligence and my time. You know why? Because that is the fucking movie should have get in theaters.
Amen.
And the extended cut didn't improve the movie in any great way. It made things make a little more sense. So now instead of the critics firing Ridley with 100 bullet holes, now you have 98 bullet holes. Like, it didn't improve in the movie that much because all it improved is slightly where the fire, you get the sense of, well, Superman would have burned them to death, maybe, all right, cool. And then Batman the guys would die in prison because of Batman. And and it was really Jesse Eisenberg trying to, because he set them up to kill them in prison now. That didn't really fix the movie because it still have a massive chunk of problems with the movie. Doomsday, they decided to bring it in, and then they had the goal to do Death of Superman. In the end of this, I was like, are you fucking serious with this? This movie was so much rubbish for me, Judd. It is just such a goddamn disappointment. I can't believe this movie existed. It was a total shell shock when I come out of that theater. I was watching this, it's like, oh, you're serious with this? This happening? It was Kafka-esque at times. It's almost like they perfectly designed this movie to piss me off. That's how it felt. Again, the only part of the movie I kind of enjoy, Batman, he doing the Arkham Asylum fighting thing. It look kick-ass, I'm not denying that. But that shit should have been like the opening to a Justice League movie now. Don't waste it in this rubbish. That's what made it kind of worse. Because they actually put good shit in this, now they can't do anymore. And then the sad part is that I get the feeling that Justice League not going to have action sequence anywhere near that also. And that's the sad part. Whoever. Yeah. The other DC people making the shit work. The DC TV people, they holding their own. I give them props. Even though they're silly, they actually understand the characters and themes and the humanist aspects of the DC universe. I enjoy Justice League action. It actually, again, good spirit of the characters and why these characters work.
Right.
Get Alan, and I'll say it for the last fucking time. Get Alan Burnett on board with the movies to make that shit work. Alan Burnett is a good showrunner. Get him on board. Get somebody like Greg Berlanti. Everybody involved there, not supposed to be involved there. Is a brain cancer going on in DCEU right now. That DC Extended Universe, I don't know how they're going to salvage this. Look, if they salvage it and they make me eat my shoe and put my foot in my mouth with respect, do it. Please, make me be wrong. Make me like your movies, please. What the fuck? This fucking movie, Judd.
Yeah, boy,
it was unbelievable. A total mess of a film, Judd. Utter nonsense. Sad. Real sad. Real damn sad. It's a shame that they had to make this shit, Judd. It's so much rubbish for me, Judd. This movie did not fucking work. Unbelievable. And Man of Steel, you know what, making me more pissed off a little bit with it? I actually bat for Man of Steel. But the thing is, Man of Steel needed other movies for it to justify its existence. And that was my attitude. It's like, all right, Man of Steel had problems, but now the sequels could actually fix the mess and actually make Man of Steel be better. Nope. It was like Transformers, because you had the first movie that kind of good, but it needed the sequels to be better to fix that. And it was like Transformers 2 all over again with Batman v Superman. It's like, why? Yeah, whatever. Fuck it. Moving on.
Moving
on. Rubbish. But I just behave. To me, going forward with the DC material, just pretend that this Batman v Superman didn't exist. Bring back Superman to life as fast as fucking possible and move on. Just make people forget that shit. Movie was garbage, dude. We didn't talk about the title fight yet. Title fight was a kind of waste of time because you think they would get clever with the fight. Nothing. Just this them punching because Batman hit him some kryptonite gas and it was so lazy and stupid.
And then it stops once they realize, our mothers are called Martha.
Yeah, and then they decide to do the Martha thing, which didn't work or make any sense whatsoever. I just was so pissed off with it. And you know what I hate about it? All the people who defending it, playing the victim card. Well, you shouldn't insult us and insult us with this. And I was like, no, fuck you. I'm not gonna justify having this argument with you because it's because of you we're gonna get worse movies. It's because of you entertaining this nonsense now. And another thing that pissed me off about it, and they like to bring up this bullshit point. Well, the movie still make money. Again, fuck you. The movie should have made over $1 billion easy. It's Batman and Superman, right? It didn't cross $1 billion. Civil War crossed $1 billion, and because it made a good movie. Now, here's a piece of speculation I'm gonna say. If Batman v Superman had a half decent script, it'd have easily crossed $1 billion. 1.2, 1.3 billion, I think, easy. If it had a very good script, like on the level of The Dark Knight, in my opinion, I think it would have made $2 billion, right? That's how big those characters are and how you're supposed to hype and make this work. No, the movie make 800 million. Like, what the fuck? That's not supposed to be even in the ballpark for a movie like Batman v Superman. Come on. This movie is a complete and abject failure by every workable standard, and it only rode the coattails of the sheer cultural weight of Batman and Superman as characters. That's the only reason it made that much money. Right? If it was any other set of characters, and that's what I hate about it, is a total hijacking of good material and good IPs for your short-sighted, lazy bullshit attitude. DCEU had a clean up, Judd. Get the cancer out of the system, Judd. Make DC great again. The other guy, Donald Trump type of pussy. This was a total fucking mess, Judd. This movie real pissed me off. It's a while a movie haven't pissed me off this long. and it's because of this. It's just so lazy and rubbishy. Whatever. Moving on is not my franchise.
Moving on.
I didn't make it. It's not
Yeah,
mine. I have to keep reminding myself that now. It's not mine. It's not my franchise. I don't own it. Moving on. Whatever.
Yeah.
Next.
So that was Ricardo Medina's official final, hopefully, rant on the wasted effort that was Batman v Superman.
But the bile is built up. I realized the bile for this movie is built up real fast once I started to think about it a little bit. And as I say, look, it'll give me a heart attack or something. This movie will fucking kill me.
Well, thank goodness we decided to get that out of the way first, so now we can jump into best stuff. Yeah. And because it's 16, I'm just gonna run through. Well, all right. Well, you have how much you have? You have 10 or you have 16?
Actually, when I count it up, I actually get exactly 16 more or less. And I have a one mention, but I want to put it in, but it's not a full-length feature, so you'll know what. I see.
Okay.
Aha.
All right. So my honorable mentions. I'm just gonna run through everything pretty much fast now. So honorable mentions goes to Finding Dory, which I thought was a decent enough sequel to the much beloved Finding Nemo. Just came out maybe a little too late though, but still, I thought it was I thought it worked. It was entertaining, it was fun, and it had some heart and emotion as well too. Secondly was Zootopia, which the reason why it's there is because I saw it a little too late. I didn't get to see it on big screen. I saw it honestly when the hype died down and I actually got a hold of the actual DVD itself, so I watched it. I enjoyed it, but I just felt that maybe if I saw it around the time it came out, I would have loved it a lot more. And also, final honorable mention goes to 10 Cloverfield Lane, which surprised me. I didn't know what to expect. That last 15 minutes caught me completely off guard, and I thought it worked. Right. In terms of just building this really effective thriller.
Right. So, cool.
Number 16. Well, because it's a long list, I just might as well have put it in. This one is officially my guilty pleasure movie of 2016. I mean, we could say what we want about Warcraft and Assassin's Creed sucking as video game movies, but this one here was honestly the best video game movie I saw this year. And it's not even based off of a video game. Of course, I'm talking about Hardcore Henry. Yes, I had to put that in my list. That, you could say what about, it has no story and it has no character arc and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, it was just a first-person shooter film done through the perspective, done through, a GoPro camera. And it worked excellently. It was just non-stop action. It had its occasional laughter, a lot of WTF moments as well too. And just creating this really out-of-this-world story. You're not supposed to take it seriously. And, you're not going into this thing for story. It's all about great action set pieces. And for what they were going for, especially with the kind of clearly low budget that they had, I thought it worked perfectly. So yeah, hands down the best, probably in my opinion, one of the best action movies I saw this year. Right. What's your number 16?
Yeah, number 16, I'll have to say probably Hacksaw Ridge.
All right.
I thought this movie kicked a lot of ass. It was just, it focused itself quite well on just the fate aspect, but I think because I just couldn't take how they do the fate aspect of it didn't work for me personally. There's another movie that has a fate aspect that I sadly I didn't get a chance to see, which was Martin Scorsese's new film.
Silence, which I wish I
Silence. I really wish we could have gotten us a chance to see that. Most likely we won't see it, sadly. We won't see it at the end of the year, so it can't be in the list. But yeah, and both starring Spider-Man, right?
Yes. Andrew Garfield, the former Spider-Man, yes.
Former Spider-Man. And but this movie worked. I mean, the violence was work. I mean, Mel Gibbs, you still have it. You're a really good director. I can't take that away from you. You're a crazy person, but a damn good director. And the violence work, the idea of him having to just stay non-violent throughout the story and in the light of it. But yeah, to me, the whole fate aspect just didn't work for me, and it was just a little too much. It felt more like a chick track kind of novel, kind of comic, if you're familiar with who Jack Chick is. In fact, the running joke is called Full Metal Jack Chick. That's the running joke. But yeah, it felt like that, and they were a little too preachy and ridiculous in some ways. I was like, okay, I thought people really like it, and I get why it works, but not for me. So it's one of those.
I see.
Yeah, right, but still a damn solid movie, and when it picks up, it really picks up.
Okay, all right. So my number 15 is Arrival, a show that I went in knowing I would have enjoyed. I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to, but I know this is one I'm gonna revisit, time and time again, just to just be amazed by the really intricate story, and of course just the twists and turns and whatnot. Enjoyed it, like I said, not as much as I wanted to, but this is probably one of the more intelligent more intelligent and thought-provoking sci-fi movies I've seen in a long while.
Yeah, I well much higher on my list, but yeah, this was pretty damn good and a kick-ass movie for me. I had one little issue with the main plot, and it was a little distracting. When I'll talk about how it kind of dropped a few points to me because of something I found out. But yeah, this was pretty good. My number 15, I'll have to go with Zootopia.
Okay,
I
sweet.
really enjoyed Zootopia, but it just that third act they kind of dropped the ball with it. The villain, I didn't really. I find they could have, they could have do a little more with the villain. She was just, okay, that's why you do it. But yeah, for the what really worked well. Voice acting was so great. Animation, I actually really liked it. But the movie is a movie that kind of dropped for me over the year now. Looking at it,
okay.
I don't have as much fun with it. I thought it is a movie I kind of forget, but I enjoyed it for the most part. But it just dropped a lot of points because of over the year.
I see.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to number 14, a movie that we covered in our last podcast, Elle from Paul Verhoeven.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was one that like the more I thought about it, the more I realized how great it was. But
Yeah.
I still do need to watch it over and more
That's
or
like
less
a-
over and
yeah.
over again, just for me to really get it. And to me that's not a bad thing. So yeah,
Right.
Elle number 14 for me. What's your number 14?
Green Room. I'll go with Green Room.
All right.
I really like Green Room, but it's a movie that just had such a weak ending for me, I thought. And
I would admit that too, because I
Yeah,
was bored until that very end to me.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Green Room and another movie that tied. This is oh gosh, I shall put this. I'll put this on the list, but this fellow, Daniel Radcliffe's movie, where he was a
Swiss
Nazi.
Army Man.
No, not Swiss Army Man. The one where he was Nazi.
Oh, Imperium.
Imperium, right? That I'll put. I kind of tie it with Green Room. That is roughly the same material, similar material and subject matter in some ways, because of the whole neo-Nazi stuff, and well, especially in the light of the Donald Trump election, that crops up a little bit. So yeah, I'll give it. I'll tie Green Room with Imperium. It's there because the Imperium belongs on the list. I thought that was solid filmmaking as well.
All right.
But yeah, it was just the ending was kind of lame, and well, of course the late Anthony Yelchin passed. He was pretty good in it as well. But yeah, it just the ending was kind of underwhelming for me, and that's why it kind of lost a lot of points.
All right, I see. Okay, so moving on to number 13 is The Nice Guys. Shane Black came back with this one. He got Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe on board. Is not a show that I was entirely blown away by, but I love the chemistry between the two actors. I love how this story sort of twists and turns, and that's what I love about Shane Black's writing, is that you never know what to expect from it. You think, because it's a genre, it's supposed to go this one way, but he could go different directions, and you will just have fun enjoying it. So,
the Nice Guys.
Yeah,
Nice
Guys for me.
Nice Guys much higher on my list. But yeah, pretty damn good movie. I enjoy it. All
right. So what is your number 13?
My number 13, I will have to go with Jungle Book.
Wow, so low though. Okay.
Right. Jungle Book. Yeah, it was a movie that again is one of those when you run it, when it more and more think about it, I think it does have a natural bias of over the longer you saw it, it don't really hold up. And I liked it, but then I realized more and more think about it, I didn't love it as much as I should have. It's pretty damn good, not denying that, but it was missing one of the key scenes from the original from the early animation movie, the old Disney movie, and that was the Shere Khan car scene. I thought it needed that or something along those lines, and I just couldn't get into it anywhere near as much as the original. I don't know. I just keep comparing it to that. It was still normal. Like the more and more I watch it, the more and more I think about watching it a second time, I was like, all right, I don't like this as much.
Okay. Well, teach us one.
It was a nice surprise. That's the thing with Jungle Book. It was a nice surprise. But so I went in with a low standard, but when I actually, toggle my metrics, I realized, this movie don't really hold up that well for me, personally. But it's still damn good.
Okay. Right. So going into number 12, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story.
Okay.
No, it's not my top 10 because it's not the best Star Wars movie I've seen, but it is, like I said before, one of the more ambitious Star Wars movies I've seen before. And I have a feeling that, maybe with a second or third viewing, I may like it a little bit more. Not love it, but, appreciate it a lot more. So number 12 for me, Rogue One.
Okay. I totally understand where you're coming from with that.
All right. What was your top 12?
My 12, I'll have to say L.
All right.
This one is a nice surprise. I really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun with it, so it worked for me. Just such a strange, bizarre story and interesting set of morality. And yeah, it worked, especially with that big reveal. To me, the big reveal was with the father.
Yes.
Real bad.
Yeah.
She, how to treat and deal with a victim is really. She was kind of walking time bomb almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. So. Number 11 for me was Doctor Strange. And what I liked it, not only did it introduce a character so well into the MCU, and I mean, seeing how far the MCU has gone so far, we now reached Phase 3, but also it trusted its own fantasy genre. It went boldly into that genre. It didn't try to stray away from it and be some kind of sci-fi hybrid like what Thor was. It was straight. It was straight fantasy from start to end. I love the visuals. I love the acting. I love the action scenes. And oh yes, in terms of the visuals, though, yeah, I am rooting for this to get an Oscar nomination. This has to get a nomination. Please, Academy, nominate this movie here.
Yeah, more than likely you'll get for at least visual effects. More than likely, yeah. So
yeah. So what is your number 11?
My number 11, I'll have to go with I Am Not Your Negro. That's by Raoul Peck.
That documentary I wanted to see.
Yes, I took that in. That was really damn good. Amazing documentary, really good with James Baldwin. And yeah, Raoul Peck is like, holy shit, this Asian filmmaker still holding up though.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Still making great movies. And I'm glad that, this one particular documentary of his is getting a lot of notice. So
yeah. So I'm a big fan of Raoul Peck. It's really, really well done. And yeah. That is my number 11. Since we're going through quick. Yeah.
Well, speaking of documentaries, my number 10 is 13th, which I saw yesterday, actually, at the time of this recording.
Right.
It still holds up to me a lot.
Yeah.
Still thinking about it up to now as well too. The topics, the subject matter, and all that kind of stuff. It's a very powerful piece of like documentary filmmaking. Don't miss this one.
Yeah.
What is your number 10?
My number 10, I'll have to go with. Don't
think too hard.
I'll have to say.
Official list.
Yeah. I've got. I want to rank it in my head, but I can't rank it. I'll have to say miles ahead.
All right.
I really enjoyed this movie. I had a lot of fun with this. It just the jazz music. It well shot, well made, but it had some bullshitty moments when it comes to the narrative, and so I couldn't take it too serious in that way. But it totally worked. Keith Stanfield, who was in Atlanta, he was in this as well. And yeah, John Cheadle come good with this movie, so I'll rate it.
All right, cool. I definitely need to check that out as well too.
Yeah.
Number 9, I had to think long and hard for this one. I had to give it to Moana. Disney came through once again with a great, animated musical adventure movie. A lot of people would, make comparisons to like Tangled and this other show, Frozen, but for this one, it just
music,
the music was great. The characters and voice acting was fantastic, and just putting us in this new world and telling us this really unique story that was just so captivating, not just to the eyes and the ears, but to your heart as well too. So yeah, this one stood out a lot in terms of in terms of Disney's animation. So yeah, Moana, number 9 for me. What's your number 9?
My number 9, probably Moana as well. I'll have to say that. We line up with that one. Moana was good. I just had one big problem with the plot.
I remember we talked about it. Yeah, the water.
The magic water just threw off the movie for me. I'd just do a rewrite of it. But yeah, the music was so good, especially that You're Welcome song from Rock.
Yes, one of my favorite songs as well too. Yes.
Yeah, really, really entertaining. I just had me tapping my toes. Really good story. Good soundtrack. Well, that guy who do is his name Lin-Manuel?
Yes.
He do Hamilton?
Yes, he did.
Hamilton on fire now. You had to figure out a way to get Hamilton come true now. Yes, people spend real cash on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, real hard, really well done. And I really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed it.
Right. Okay, well, coming in at number 8 for me is The Handmaiden. Like, I wasn't sure if I really wanted to put this as a top 10, but the more I thought about it, I was like, but this is one of Park Chan-wook's best movies to date. I still love Old Boy. Old Boy is on the top of my list. But yeah, Handmaiden was, just was so different. It was just so out there, I know, like, from a creative perspective, it was a risk for a guy like him, but I thought it paid off immensely. We got great performances, a very provocative, very thought-provoking narrative as well too, and some scenes, for better or for worse, that will stick with me for years to come. So yeah,
Right.
Handmaiden for me comes at number 8. What's your number
Right.
8?
My number 8, Don't Think Twice.
Yes, that movie that
Yeah,
yeah,
starring
reviewed, yeah.
Keegan Michael Key. Mike Birbiglia was just such a fantastic writer, and this, to me, it real cut deep. It's a movie that real cut deep in terms of success and how you should treat other people in terms of jealousy and that whole thing. And it worked in the context of humor and people who don't not outwardly angry, so you get to see these really controlled emotions, and it was really well shot, really well made, really well edited. And yeah, it just the script was just so damn good for me. And then, well, of course, it have the LL40 Watt soundtrack to it.
Right.
And that was pretty good thing. I just really like this movie. I really, really liked it.
Okay. My number 7. Now I'll see this. This year, I would admit, was a great year for horror.
Right.
But for me, the one that stood out the most was The Witch.
Okay, lower.
So,
okay,
yeah,
I have
that,
this much.
that to me creeped me out the most. It creeped me out more than Conjuring 2. It creeped me out more than Don't Breathe. Even creeped me out more than Lights Out. But this one just went so deep into me, into my subconscious. It was just telling this really deep, dark story. And it sounds like like a story as old as the beginning of time. But the way how they presented it was just so unique. And like I said before in my last review, I'm hoping that this gets a Criterion Collection release. And once it does come out, hopefully in the near future, definitely gonna buy this thing on Blu-ray.
Right.
Best horror movie of the year, The Witch.
Well, this high on my list, but yeah. Where's the number now?
Number 7.
7, right. Everybody Wants Some.
Which I'm hearing a lot of great things about, yes.
That was such a good movie. I didn't expect to enjoy that so much. Holy shit. I was like, I heard a lot of hype, and then I went and see it, and I was like, yeah, this is flowing so well as a film. A lot of people, the big argument is that it doesn't go anywhere, but it's like, no, that is not the whole point of it. It's that it's just these a bunch of guys, just great character piece, and great character interactions of these guys.
That's like Dazed and Confused, basically, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. It's a kind of a spiritual sequel to that. And I just thought that movie works so well for me. But yeah, it just had so much. It is so well done, so well played off, and right. I just really enjoyed Everybody Wants Some. It's just good acting, good character work. As a character piece, it's excellent, and it just flowed so well for me.
Right.
That's it. Yeah, kind of a weekend, but for the most part, it's just all the characters and just being into these how their lives are. It totally worked.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, going into number 6 for me is the one that you put really low on your list, The Jungle Book.
Okay.
Going into this, I wasn't a big fan of the original movie, but going into this, I was like, okay, Disney actually gonna make a live action version of one of their most famous animated movies, and I thought it worked very, very well. I love the visual effects, even right down to the animals, getting them to not just to talk, but just to look like they are real animals talking. And of course, the great performance by the kid. I'm forgetting his name right now. But I thought he was excellent as Mowgli. Everything about it I loved, even right down to the moments where you're hearing guys like Bill Murray and Christopher Walken singing the old songs, even right down to McGill Scarlett Johansson in the end with Trust Me. Everything for me worked with that. In terms of like live action Disney movies, Jungle Book stood out the most to me. That's my number 6.
Number 6, right. My number 6, well, this is going to kind of shock you. Captain America Civil War.
What? Yeah. I thought it would be a top 5, but okay.
Captain America Civil War.
All right.
The more and more think about it, it's one of those movies, again, with time kind of burned it away a little bit. It had a lot of problems, but because Batman v Superman was this year, I just like it so much. Because this was such a shit year for comic book movies, this one really just stood out. But the more and more think about Captain America Civil War, a lot of it is contrived. A lot of it kind of, when you think about it, don't really work that well. But it still is really well done and really worked. Great emotion. I really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun with it. But it totally worked for me. But it just couldn't make that top 5 because it have a bunch of shit on this that I really like more than this.
All right, I understand. Well, getting to superhero movies, my number 5, I'd give it to Deadpool.
Okay.
The folks at 20th Century Fox, they took a huge gamble with this one, not just to make a R-rated superhero movie, but also merge it with romantic comedy and pretty much release it during the Valentine's Day weekend, and it worked. But even if you take away all the Valentine's Day stuff, the movie itself totally works. It does fit within, it does really feel like a legit comic book adaptation. Right down to the breaking of the fourth wall, the way how the characters talk and interact with each other, to, right down to the violence and the action scenes as well too, which, are very well done and very well shot and very well handled. Of course, Ryan Reynolds redeems himself. I know this was like the one movie that he was, putting all of his effort into, and I thought that it worked out immensely. So yeah, Deadpool, top 5 for me. Well, number 5, I should say.
Right.
Yeah, Deadpool.
So I have something that ties for number 5.
All right.
There's a tie, because it was in my head. It felt the same way coming out of both movies. Very different movies, but it totally work together. I'll say it's a tie between Allied and Nice Guys.
Okay.
Yeah, Allied was just such a great piece. I mean, to me, in terms of character motivation and storytelling, I thought it worked. Really well shot. Maria Cotillard was so good in this. Brad Pitt was good in this. Story, the actual central premise of the story itself, when you actually think about it, and especially if you know the history and history of the war and how that stuff play out, it's like, this have a lot of powerful emotional weight to it, and it worked for me. This was great. Nice Guys, damn good script from Shane Black. Really work, really funny premise. And I just had me cracking up the entire time, especially that last beat with Keith David, where
yes,
with the pool.
Yeah.
That shit was so funny, and it was just sort of solid, funny script, and Ryan Gosling, you don't know he was so funny. Like, holy shit, that was real good.
Yeah.
I just remember the only last time he was funny for me was, I don't know, I think he had a comedy movie before, but I never saw it. But he did. I remember just being from Young Hercules. That's the stuff I know him from now. So him being funny, and it totally worked for me. Yeah, this was a great damn script, and I'll have to say, but these two movies just kind of take the together.
Right, the number 5 spot. Cool, right. No problem. All right, number 4 for me, in my opinion, is the best animated movie I've seen this year.
Right.
Kubo and the Two Strings.
Okay.
Oh my God. I mean, you could look at it 2-3 years from now and be like, narratively that doesn't work, but just holistically for me, I thought this was an excellent piece of animation. I love the characters, I love the visuals, I love the music, I loved the the mixture of stop motion animation and and computer graphics as well too, just to make this thing feel so seamless, so smooth, and I just loved everything about it. And I would admit this movie, the end of it, I almost teared up. It was that deep, it was that emotional for me. Not much more I could say about it here. If you want to know more about what I thought, check out my review. But Kubo and the Two Strings, hands down, is the best animated movie I've seen in 2016. Right. So what's your number 4?
My number 4, Arrival.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, Arrival.
Very high up, man.
Arrival was is a movie that should I don't know, it lose a lot of points because so the whole bootstrap paradox thing kill a lot of the movie for me. But then when I do a lot of research and then realize, wait, now they really like drop the ball from what the original short story was. They all kind of fuck it up. Even though I love Denis Villeneuve as a director, the opening sequence and with the child was just a big pointless distraction, and it really hurt the film in that way. But it's still really well shot, good character motivation. Amy Adams is pretty damn good in this. I forget the actor named Hawkeye. He's pretty damn good in this.
Jeremy Renner,
right? And it totally worked for me. It just really well shot. Just the aliens, they get a good sense of the aliens. That was cool. All the language stuff was great. I don't know if, again, I still don't know if Sapir-Whorf, I have to talk to probably a linguistic friend, if Sapir-Whorf hypothesis have any weight to it, but they make it work in the movie and the story and that. But it really lose a lot of points from the original short story, so that's why it get hurt. Unlike The Martian, which was relatively faithful and worked, this did work in that sense, and so it lost a lot of points. If they did it at that, it would probably be number 1, but it's sad that it didn't get out. So,
all right, I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, so coming in at number 3 for me, Hell or High Water.
Boy.
Who would think that a Scottish director would come down and make probably one of the best New American classic movies, right? Like this, like I watched it over a few days ago, and this really feels like something right out of the 70s, though. Like when directors, such as Sam Peckinpah, and they were more or less paving the way for a new breed of American cinema. This movie felt just like that, where it was taking this old genre and it was using it to tell this particularly new story for new audiences. And yes, it's a neo-Western pretty much, but in this case, because it's set in modern times, it's telling this whole story about Just a lot of things, just basically about old and new, and basically about the old having to make way for the new, and just what's left in store for old people and for new people in terms of like economics and all these kind of things. You could go really deep into it.
Yeah.
But for me, not just the story that blew me away, and yes, the screenplay has to get an Oscar nomination. This has to get one. I love the performances, even right down to
Jeff Bridges.
to Jeff Bridges as well too. Ben Foster was excellent. Chris Pine was fantastic.
Yes.
I didn't know he had that range in him. I thought he was just a pretty boy who was just being Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
But this one, he just dug in deep, and I was like, I am believing every second of him on screen. But not much more I could say about this. But in terms of indie cinema, this is probably the best indie movie I've seen all year. Hell or High Water, number 3 for me.
Yeah.
What's your
My number 3? Number 3, The Witch. The Witch.
Ah, The Witch.
The Witch. The Witch. The Witch. This movie really worked for me. This is one of those movies. Again, I'd like to try to work about psychological properties of how it is that movies could stay, or you see how movies will sort of over time get chip away, and when you think about it, this movie gets better the more I think about it. It really works. A good mix between folklore and real world scenarios. And
I forgot to mention though, when I talked about Witch, this has one of the creepiest soundtracks I've heard all year.
Yeah. I just going to mention that creepy soundtrack, good editing. You're not sure what's going on, and the whole point is who's telling the story. Because if the entire family die and the girl run away, then who knows the story to tell? So you get a sense of it has layers to this that really, really works. As I said, you mentioned that, and it's like who telling the story, who not necessarily telling the story. You get the feeling that everybody must have died, and who they blame for the narrative. It really damn creepy when you think about it. Even if there are no supernatural elements to it, the idea of supernatural elements to it is, could be there in the sense of how people would think about the problem. And it has so many layers on how to get people to think about the idea of what witchcraft means in the modern world and how to trust other human beings and not. It had a whole factor where they say it have some evidence that how certain like bread and things cause chemicals and delusions in people. So all of that shit, you hear the wrong song. And it just attributing to the supernatural. This movie was really sharp and really smart when you think about it. A lot of research and care went into this. The more and more I think about it, it actually gets better. It's a movie that I didn't really love all that much when I first watched it. Then when you actually watch it, and this is even without like the feminist interpretation of things, because that whole aspect of female sexuality and all of that thing, it have a lot to go with that. Movie was awesome.
Totally agree. All right, so my number 2 for me is Captain America: Civil War.
Okay.
So in a year where you had people like Warner and DC saying, if we put all these characters together, it'll work, it'll be a huge hit.
Right.
Captain America: Civil War did the same thing, and it's not just because they had years to set up the characters. I mean, even right down to bringing in Spider-Man and having like 5 minutes to establish his character, but just everything that they put into this movie totally worked. Even right down to the big battle royale, which will go down as one of the greatest superhero smackdowns in like cinematic history. But deep down inside, you get this really great story. This whole divide between the Avengers. So Captain America on one side, Iron Man on the other side, and it's hard for you to pick sides. It's really hard for you to do that. And when a movie could pull that off, taking characters that you love and you respect, and having them duke it out, and it gives you a really, I wouldn't say logical, but a good enough reason for you to be like, boy, I understand this. Yeah, it worked. Some of these stuff may feel gimmicky, like I say with the Spider-Man and the Ant-Man stuff, but I thought because of the way how they handle it, once again by the Russo brothers, I thought it worked excellently. So best Marvel movie of the year, hands down, Captain America: Civil War. What's your number 2?
Number 2, The Handmaiden. The Handmaiden.
Not surprised.
This movie just hit. I mean, okay, so if anybody familiar with an old book called Fingersmith, it was that. I didn't know it was being made on that, so I had to do a sort of research. And then for me, it just felt like a great, sultry, salacious lesbian pulp novel come to life. And this was just fucking awesome, Judd. It escalated in all the right ways. It was just, it just built, and then it's like, wait, it going there? Oh shit. Oh, it going there? Oh shit. The movie was fucking awesome, Judd. Really well shot, really competent, great acting. The movie does totally work for me on almost every level. I just thoroughly love this movie. This was just freaking damn awesome, Judd.
Right. Totally agree.
Right.
And my number 1, I mean, in a year of superheroes and witches and nice guys and all this stuff,
Right.
this was a movie that I saw and I actually binged through the entirety of this because, like we said before, this was
Right.
actually a movie that was split into 5 parts and shown on TV. But I binged it, and my God, I'm so glad I binged it because really experiencing it as one full epic movie made me love this movie, made me love this thing even more. Yes, folks, my number one is OJ Made in America.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the best documentaries I have seen in years.
Yeah.
Just for them, not just to talk about the life and times of OJ and how his career basically started, how it got all messed up, but really in terms of like race in America and, you know, from the 60s go up. And it just went so deep, so deep into its own subject matter. It just went into different lanes and avenues that you did not expect. And, you know, it just made for some great, you know, viewing. I was just like watching this thing just blown out of my mind, but just go in and try to understand why this person did what he did, and, you know, what, you know, just the circumstances that led to that moment, and then following after that. To me, this is like the equivalent of, say, Scorsese's Goodfellas, where you're seeing this whole epic story about, you know, this guy involved in the mafia, and you're seeing how time plays out with him. So it starts off good when he's young, and then as he gets older, he messes up.
Right.
You see the same exact thing with OJ, and then also too the way how they go deep into the trial as well too. You get to see nearly everything that went on, what is, you know, both both internally and externally, and you know, just so much things about it that, you know, stood out the most to me. Just stood out a lot to me. But yeah, OJ Made in America, I really can't say anymore. I give this the highest praise ever. This is the best movie of 2016. I don't care if it's a documentary. This is a movie. I'm hoping that it gets nominated at least in that respect, maybe for best documentary. I'm hoping so. But yeah, this movie, I strongly recommend that you guys check it out as soon as you can. I love this movie. I actually going to buy this thing on Blu-ray because I haven't watched it over yet, but I want to get this thing physically, you know, on Blu-ray so I could really appreciate it, you know, again. So yeah, that's my number one.
Right. For me, so I want to do a couple quick mentions. This one is a tricky one, but it'll tie for number one. I have a number one. This one has to be mentioned, and I couldn't really put it as part of the list. Much like with your OJ thing, it was, to me, I saw it on television, so I saw it as a TV thing. This one, I can't in good conscience put it as part of my list because it's not a full-length feature, but it was a short. A really brilliant animated short by the name of Piper.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Best animated short
Holy
of 2016.
Shit. I just want to mention this.
That's it.
Piper, whoever do this animation, please do this for a full-length something. I don't know, Jared. Figure out a way. This was so well done and brilliant, and just blew me away in terms of production value and the look and the story. And it, you know what I was trying to think? I was trying to peg up why it is that it worked so well for me. Here's what it did. It did a nice trick of, it built a bridge above the uncanny valley. If you know what that means. It's not fully real. It's not cartoonish. But it's supposed to be in the uncanny valley. But they design it in such a way for me to it actually rises and it crosses the uncanny valley in terms of the look. It's a technical, brilliant marvel. Absolutely technical, brilliant marvel. This movie, this little short was so brilliant and so well done.
Yes, it was.
Totally recommend it to anybody to go and see it. Awesome. But my number one for the year, here's the thing. The sad part is that I couldn't get to properly rank good movies for the year. We got a bunch of good shit that came out that you can get to see. Moonlight, La La Land, shit like that.
Unfortunately, and Silence as well too. But you know, coming next year, hopefully next month, we hope we get to see those shows.
Right. So that's why I'll probably do our award season run for this in terms and have a better, probably a revised list for award season or Oscars or whatever it is. But for me, my number one movie of the year, everything was, I don't know, all the stars aligned for me to enjoy this movie. I don't know, I had a good meal that day and everything was going good in my life at the time. And then this awesome movie, I watched it to pinpoint of the day, but it had to be Hello High Water. God damn, Hello High Water.
Nice.
Awesome,
oh my gosh.
I'm
so glad they put this as a number one.
Yeah, this was just such a damn good script. Chris Pine was so awesome. And the moral argument, it was such a simple and powerful story, Dread. Chris Pine, you totally understand where he's coming from with that, Dread. And then when that last piece with him and Jeff Bridges at the ending was a
so
perfect
excellent
punctuation to this film, Dread.
That was
I
a
was like,
great ending. Yes, it
yeah,
was.
Dread. I was like, holy shit, this was Dread. Love it, love it, love it. I'd have a bunch of great mentions I would like to do. There's a movie I saw that I thought would have made the list, and I should have mentioned it with Piper. A movie like Jackie, for example, pretty good,
All right,
right?
I haven't seen it.
Right.
I hear a lot of great things about it.
Yeah, but it's one of those movies that just can't make the list because it's some weird reasons for me in terms of like, well, all right, the structure is kind of weird and I get why they do it, but it didn't really pull together for me. But much like with Piper, no. Yeah, but this, I don't know, Hello High Water was just so goddamn awesome for me. Simple script, simple script, but it just make it flow so well. It only had one tiny little inkling of a flow in the movie for me. That was when one of the characters explained the situation. And for me, I find we didn't need that. They could have just cut that little piece of dialogue. They just do something great with his character at the ending. A lot of people might have problems with this because he's the Indian guy that died, but whatever.
Yeah, I understand.
But to me, it was to make Jeff Bridges to come true. He character was kind of playing the ass all the time, and then that shit happened, and he gets so fucking serious at the ending. That was real dread, though. I love this movie.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
I love Hello High Water. Totally recommend it. Strong damn film for the year. This is my number one. Sadly, I really didn't get a chance to have a proper ranking to sit down and make it work and have a, to me, quote unquote, objective standard for ranking the film. I probably wouldn't make number one, but I had all the best memories of this film. Everything just flow and work for me. Story was working, characters, acting, chemistry, everything. Damn good script. It was just like Sicario the year before. Awesome.
All right. Yeah. I totally agree, Jed. That was like I didn't know that this movie was going to be so great, and
yeah, Jed.
Just to hear from you that it made your number one, Jed. Right. I feel I just like the film a little bit more now, knowing that somebody else loves it just as much.
Yeah.
So right. So that was our picks for best and worst movies of, and what else we talked about, best hip hop albums and TV shows and all kind of stuff. Yeah, this was just our run through of 2016. Yeah. So Ricardo, where can we find you online, man?
Passat, RMEDDY. That is at RMEDDY, RMEDDY on Twitter. And then you could type in my name, Ricardo Medina, on Facebook. You should find me there.
Okay, sweet. You could find me on Twitter as well, too. Just look for Legally Black MJB in capital letters. And also you can find me on Facebook. Just look for the name Matthew Bailey, and also a Legally Black official fan base. You'll find a link to this podcast here, as well as the others that we've done over this year and a half.
Right.
And also the written reviews that I've done, prior to that.
Right.
So we have made it through another year.
Yeah, so a bunch of great films was to come out. A lot of good black stuff came out for this year. Stuff like Hidden Figures. Hidden Figures came out. Fences, Odyssey, stuff like that. Yeah. I don't think that those movies will probably make the end of the year list anyway. But yeah, I'm totally hyped for Hidden Figures and Fences. I'm going to see that next.
Me too.
I'm a big fan of Janelle Monáe, so she kind of really hot this year. She in both Hidden Figures and she's in Moonlight.
Yes.
And she's a pretty good actress and whatnot. So cool.
Yeah, Moonlight. I can't wait to see. I really hope that they bring it down here.
Yeah, it's a bunch of great movies that still have this year. It's sad that we couldn't.
See those shows before
really
the end of the year. But say what?
Yeah.
So. Right. So like I was saying before, yeah, man, we make it through another year, man. So, last words. Looking forward to 2017. I just hoping. I mean, we know you'll get the crappy movies, but I just hope that it won't be, disappoint. No, I mean, I just hope that it won't be there won't be movies that we were psyched for that could have been great, like say Batman v Superman or Suicide Squad.
Yeah, really. That. Right. So the only big, like in a couple, as I say, I keep the big movie with the big movies it's probably Wonder Woman's the only thing that should try to do something interesting. But it have a bunch of stuff like things coming out. We call it Blade Runner and stuff
Blade
like
Runner
that.
2049 and
the new Alien movie coming out.
And Alien Covenant and these
Covenant,
things.
Right. So I hyped. I kind of hyped. I'm not too hyped, mostly because this year was just such a shit show in terms of disappointment. But for me, I hyped. That's still on board. So cool.
Yeah. For me though, same thing with movies as well too. Looking forward to some great stuff, and same thing with rap music as well. This year has given us some great music. So glad to see my favorite rap group really, reunite for the last time. And I say that because, of course, the untimely demise of Phife Dawg. Rest in peace, Phife Dawg. Just glad that they were able to reunite one last time to just put out such a great album that fortunately made it to my number one list. I'm also glad that I was able to introduce myself to other, musicians, other artists as well tonight. I intend to do so, with other genres throughout the next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So movies, music, and of course, best great TV shows to look forward to as well. I don't know. Well, I mean, apart from the seasons that we should expect, I don't know what new surprise will come out next year, but I hope that it will be just as awesome as the new stuff that we saw this year.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So that's pretty much all we could say about 2016. It's been a hell of a year, for better for worse. But, we made it through. So, who knows what's going to happen come 2017. But for all the guys out there, hope you, have a... Well, I can't say Merry Christmas, but hope you guys have a, a Happy New Year and stuff. Be safe.
Right.
Don't drink and drive. And, just, look forward to a very eventful 2017,
Right, cool.
Yeah. So once again, guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you listen to this. This was Matthew Bailey and
Ricardo Medina. Happy New Year.
And we are signing off let me say again. And we're signing off from another season of Beers, Beats and Bailey.
Yeah.
So until next year, guys, take care. Peace. Later.
Yep.
I'm very precise when I shoot straight out the roof of my Lexus. Cool. Very precise when I shoot straight out the roof of my Lexus. Cool. Very precise when I shoot straight out the roof of my Lexus. Cool. I'm very precise when I shoot straight out the roof of my Lexus. Fuck that.